Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're listening to this, and welcome to the Weebly Comic Podcast, a podcast where every week we talk about anime, manga, comic book movies, and the latest entertainment news. I'm Diego, also known as Wrath, and as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts, Brennan.
What it do, baby boo?
And Star Psycho, aka Adrian.
What's up, you sexy boos?
And this week we have a whole lot of news. Honestly, way too much happened this week. So we're going to try to keep it as quick as possible because we got Demon Slayer, a majority of the stuff that all three of us could find for Jump Festa, and the announcements that happened at Jump Festa. And we also got our Spider-Man No Way Home review later in the podcast, as well as the final episode of Hawkeye and the Doctor Strange trailer breakdown / review thoughts, whatever the hell you want to call it. So obviously we got a whole lot of things going on this episode, so feel free to check the time codes in the description and skip around. And while you're down there, make sure to check out the links to the podcast socials, my YouTube channels, Adrian's Twitch, Brennan's Funko Pop Instagram. And with all of that being said, let's dive into the first topic, which is Demon Slayer's newest episode. And Brennan, I did a 180. This episode was fire.
What I say? What I say?
It was so good. It was so good. Because for once, not for once, but unlike last episode, there was actually shit going on, and I was thriving.
Can we just praise Zenitsu for his
Dog,
character development?
He glowed up.
His bravery for once.
He straight up disrespected an upper demon to her face while awake.
And didn't even care, bro.
And he knew, no, he cared, but he knew she was an upper demon. Also, and I would also like to point out that the episode stated that the only people who would be able to realize they're an upper demon are Hashira level people.
Yeah.
And my boy Zenitsu just casually looked at her and said, "Damn, this is an upper level demon."
Yeah, dude, this whole episode. Honestly, can we just talk about
What the
Inosuke?
power Coochie does to you, bro.
I mean that, but can we just talk about Inosuke? That whole sequence was great. From, the BDSM shit that was going on with that demon to to just Inosuke just bodying this poor fucking pervert and putting a hole in the wall. I'm honestly surprised that dude ain't dead. I'll be honest.
This is a pretty good arc for Inosuke. To be honest, going forward, all arcs Inosuke progresses pretty well. So
I'm gonna be eaten.
Inosuke fans are gonna rise up soon. Very soon.
Remember, I think I said that last episode that a lot of people are gonna start to love Inosuke if they don't already, because he's kind of fire.
And if you don't love Inosuke already, you tripping. Honestly, that whole sequence with the demon was pretty crazy. That kind of backstory. Oh, and I could never do enough justice describing the opening sequence, but it taking kind of the old Japanese movie kind of inspiration. I thought that shit was gas. But that whole sequence with the actual demon killing that one lady and even being introduced to Muzan. Also, I love her character design. Not in a me being down bad sense, but she just looks so great and very simp-worthy. But
menacing but sexy at the same time.
Oh my god, yeah.
Seductive.
Yes.
Very.
Yes.
The way
I just love how she just, it's obvious that she simps for Muzan.
And so Muzan is over here calm as hell for the first. Not the first
bro,
time,
I'd be, my knees would be quaking if I was in her presence. I'm gonna be honest. I'd be please, just step on me. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, you would. Shut up.
Don't hide
it. Please.
Honestly, though, I thought that the episode got cut short because I think at the 20-minute mark or the 18-minute mark.
Minutes.
Yeah. But maybe it's just me, but did you watch for the scene that happened after the credits?
I did.
Nope. I didn't.
Okay, well, you already know what happens pretty much, I'm assuming. But the scene where Zenitsu gets grabbed by her, that's what was after the credits. And it's got me so hyped for the next episode.
I forgot that happened. I thought he was gonna be chilling, and he gets snatched. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, like he's just, he wakes up, he's just thinking about how he has to deal with the demon, and then she just snatches his ass. And that was the end of the episode, Brennan. So don't fucking say anything.
The reason this one probably felt like it was cut short is because like everything's about to like just burst into like shit's about to hit the fan. Like,
given that was like I like that it was cut short a little bit, and then that was like a sort of after credit scene, because like when the episode ended, it felt like a good spot because you can kind of already tell that shit's going down. And then, most people would just shut it off. But like if you watch till after the credits, because I noticed that there was like, what, Adrian, like 5 minutes after the credits started. So I was like, there's got to be like something happening after this shit.
Yeah, it was a little bit.
Yeah. So then, and I feel like the tonal shift from what's going on right there to like the oh shit moment when Zenitsu gets snatched, like them stopping right before that scene was probably a good play, because that like sets up the tone for the next episode. And like, yeah, sure, everything's intense during this episode, but like going from kind of like an intense, but like it's kind of like a build up to, oh shit, Zenitsu just got. Like, I feel like that would be a very drastic turn for like the last minute of the episode. I don't know if anything that I just said made sense.
A little bit.
But I'm just really excited for the next episode, and I can't wait for Sunday.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if you can tell, but me and Adrian are kind of letting you guide the talk of these episodes so that we don't
say too much.
Overboard.
Don't say too much. Yeah.
And that's perfectly fine. I'm sure that our listeners who aren't, manga readers appreciate it. But
yeah, but for the ones who are manga readers, I apologize. We can't get into the juicy details.
Yeah, because
I cannot do that.
I refuse to read it because the animation is just too good, bro. I don't want to ruin any of it for myself. Well, I'm not ruin it, but like spoil myself for what I could just watch. But speaking of things that are being watched, I don't even know if it's a good transition. I'm trying to transition into the Bleach trailer, damn it. All right, listen.
Boy, first of all, that didn't make sense.
Animation.
Yeah, animation. Yeah. That's what what I meant.
Trailer look, dropped, and
for context,
amazing.
For context, for everybody listening and both of you actually, my brain has not been functioning whatsoever today, so just bear with me, okay? Anyways. So I'm currently reading through the Arrancar arc in Bleach, so I don't know anything that's going on in this trailer, but the trailer is fire.
Hold on. Are you going to read 1,000-Year Blood War arc and then watch the anime, or is that when you're gonna just right when you get there you'll drop it and then watch?
Okay, so it depends on two things. It depends on if the animation quality from the trailer is the actual animation quality for the whole thing. For the whole thing.
We won't know that for a very long time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. I don't, and that's another thing is like, it also depends on how long it takes me to get that far, because I may like, you know how ass I am at, reading through things quickly lately, because I just jump back and forth between shit.
Like, it's like imagine Soul Society, but 2 times better. That's the Arrancar arc, so you're probably gonna want to read at least through that pretty quickly.
Because I finally got to the point where Ichigo finally gets control of his hollow side. So,
you're a decent way in.
Yeah, I'm thriving right now. But
so you've seen him fight Grimmjow already once?
Yeah, the first time he fought Grimmjow.
Okay.
Also, Adrian, is Grimmjow not liked by people? Because I got to the popularity poll, and I don't know if I just suck at reading today or like just functioning as a human being in general today, but I was reading through like the popularity results, and Ulquiorra, is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Ulquiorra. He was on there. He was like, I think number 15 for the third popularity poll. But I couldn't find Grimmjow anywhere. And I really like Grimmjow a lot more than Ulquiorra at this point.
I mean, to be fair, you don't really see much. You haven't seen much of Ukiyoda, so you have to see later and
I
have
just
your
look, Grimjow is
opinion
just
developed there.
a like
But
complete
to be, in
bastard.
my
So
opinion, from
I
what I've
really like
seen,
him.
it just seems like Ukiyoda and Grimchow are contentious as like the best written hollows.
Yeah.
And I see why. Even I debate myself on which one is like the better one.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to say maybe well written, maybe have the argument of Ukiyoda.
He
Sometimes
seems
lean
like
either him or Grimjow.
so the way that
Grimjow's
I
just
kind
my
of see it,
opinion.
the only way that I could really, I guess, like what's it called? Kind of make like a comparison is as far as I've seen at least the best comparison that I can make is Ulquiorra is kind of like an evil Gyu while Grimjow is like Bakugo.
Grimjow's just a menace to society,
That's what I'm
period.
saying. Grimjow just
Yeah,
looks like a menace so far and I love it.
And I think that's
Evil
why people
Genius.
compare them, is they're complete opposites. Ulquiorra is very calm, let's do the plan, yada yada yada. Grimjow's like,
Very
we're just
nihilistic
gonna
person too.
go we're just gonna go and screw everything. Like
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just Grimjow's the chaotic one. Ukiyora's a calm and nihilistic person, or
True.
hollow.
All right. Well, we were just supposed to be focusing on the announcements from Jump Festa, but we got into talking about too much Bleach probably. But
A little bit.
moving on to the next one is
whoa, we
what?
didn't even talk about the trailer.
Oh, you right.
He kind
look
of went off
because
like your arc.
because like I don't want y'all to talk about it. You feel me? Because I
There's
feel
no
like y'all gonna go
we
off
can
the deep
still
end.
talk about it without saying anything.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
anyone
All I
who
can say is it is lit from what we've seen exactly like how the panels were in the Thousand Year Blood War arc. The background of it is perfect. It is exactly how I feel this arc would go and how dark it is. That's how I'm gonna say. Brendan, you can go on.
What I was gonna say is this: there's two different ways people are gonna look at this trailer. There's gonna be the people who love it and the people who look at it and just go, basically what you did with it, the first Attack on Titan trailer. What the hell did I just look at? Because a
See,
lot of
but
the stuff they show is a lot like
I don't know, man. Because
it's no,
I'll
listen,
let you finish.
it's it's spoiler, but it's not spoiler because like you're only gonna know what it is if you've read the arc. And if you don't read it, then a lot of the stuff that you see, as much as you think you may or may not understand it, or you may think something about it, is probably completely wrong. So it's just that perfect trailer that no matter where you are in Bleach, you can kind of get excited about it because the people who've read it and the people who are caught up like manga wise, they see the things and they're like, bro, this is sick. Like this looks great. This looks great. This looks just
Mhm.
like the manga. This look like all that. And people who haven't read it can look at it and they can still think it's a very pleasing. If you've read a little bit of it, like you, Diego, you're looking at some of the people or you're looking at some things and thinking, wow, how do we get here? Or, oh, who's that? Or blah, like, all that stuff. So it's just really good. And then also, Diego, you don't have the pleasure of this because you didn't watch it, but the soundtrack, bro, that they could have just played
It
that
is
soundtrack
very
over a picture
nostalgic.
and every Bleach fan would have been hyped. That's
He's
just
like,
so
they
you know,
could have
that's
given us the
Ichigo's theme.
Chainsaw Man
It's
fucking
a
trailer.
remix of the soundtrack that they had during the Soul Society, and that was like Ichigo's soundtrack to here's him saving the day type of
Yeah.
soundtrack.
And
And
it's
it's
just
very
perfect.
nostalgic for this, and it's perfect because Bleach hasn't been aired since 2012, I want to say. It's been long. It's been a
Yeah,
long
it's been
time
a
since we
fat
actually
minute.
heard that soundtrack in general because we haven't even heard it since Soul Society too.
Damn.
And for a
It
lot of
is,
people, that is
dude,
their favorite soundtrack.
it is sick.
All right. Well, so I'm gonna backtrack a little bit to you said like it's kind of like the first Attack on Titan trailer. I disagree, I guess. Just because like when I was watching the Bleach trailer, like yes, sure it didn't make any sense like story-wise perspective, but I could still kind of get a sense of what the tone would be for 1,000 Year Blood War and like uh what's it called? Kind of like I kind of got the gist, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Where with the Attack on Titan trailer, it just looked like a bunch of fucking pictures. And
And that's exactly what I meant. I guarantee you half the shit you think is probably wrong.
no, like maybe it's just because like I know what's going on currently with Attack on Titan, so I'm trying to like piece it together, and it's just not making any sense. Where with this trailer for Bleach, I'm like, I know that I'm not going to understand any of it, so I'm just gonna take in the visuals and like not think anything of it. Maybe that's what the difference is. I don't know.
I'm saying it's crazy out here.
But
Very.
It's fun knowing everything.
It is.
But yeah, so it depends on how long it's gonna take me to read up to the 1,000-Year Blood War, and also depends on if that's gonna be the quality for the whole show or not. Because if it is gonna be the quality for the entire shit, I may just watch it.
I told Adrian I think for the fight scenes it'll be up par maybe to that quality,
Mhm.
but everything else might
Yeah,
be
because
like slightly lower.
you said it's Boruto's animation
No,
studio.
so no, yeah, I mean, yes, it is the Boruto Anime Studio Period, but the animator director is from the same director that made Akudama Drive. I don't think any of y'all have. It's a alright story, but the animation is very clean, and that's literally it. So if it's gonna stay like that or relatively like that, then I don't have a problem with the Bleach anime like at
Yeah.
all.
All right. Well, moving on. So, yeah, let's just move on to the Jujutsu Kaisen movie trailer. What is it? The second one, I think.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's trailer 2.
So
trailer
now,
2 and the last one.
so I want to kind of keep it vague because I don't want to like spoil anything really. But the only thing that I will say is,
There's
I think
nothing
it
to spoil.
showed. What are you talking about? No, I'm saying
What you
for like
see in
the
the trailer is
listener
what you
who
see in the
hasn't
trailer.
read fucking,
But that's what I'm saying. If you talk about what's in the trailer, then there's nothing to spoil because they watched the same trailer.
Oh,
So
I
if you,
mean,
as long like that's what I
I meant
meant
like
by
I
like
don't want
there's
to
nothing to
like
spoil.
get into spoilers for like the reason why I'm about to say what I'm about to say. But like the only comments that I have aside from obviously it looks amazing is I think it showed way too fucking much.
Pretty much. Like,
Like
I feel like they showed
it
every
showed the
story arc.
important yeah, I was going to say it showed like the important beats from literally every single section of what's going to be in the movie. Like
Granted,
every
we obviously know they're added a lot more, which I'm happy
yeah.
of, but
Yeah. So like obviously there's going to be stuff that's added that we have no idea even though we read volume 0, but just from like from somebody who read all of volume 0, it showed entirely way too much, which honestly is kind of like with the Attack on Titan, the new Attack on Titan trailer. Like I remember that you and Jay said that it showed way too much.
yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
like yeah,
Way
sure,
too much.
if you're watching and you obviously haven't read that volume, then you have no idea what's happening, which good for you. But like
I'm just saying,
if you
if y'all
know,
don't know what's
it's
happening,
way too much being shown.
don't dissect the trailer any more than you should
Yeah.
want to. I promise you, you're gonna find out or put shit together, and you're gonna be like, "Wait, why did they put this in the trailer?"
That's what I'm saying,
Like I
dude.
look at it
Like
and like a minute in, I'm like, "Yo, why would they do this?"
yeah, cuz
Like
Yo,
like
you
obviously,
need to
there's more than
chill.
that,
cuz
but
like
like, why?
the second time I
that
watched it, I was like, "Wait, this is like every single fight."
no, it's not. It's just like
Or like every
that's like
what's it
the
called? Like
first couple of
every
episodes of the season.
yeah.
But my problem is they showed up a very key important moment in that like part where it's just I don't think it's gonna hold shock value anymore. And that's like that was the thing. Like when it was coming out monthly, it was a like a shocking moment when the event that I'm thinking of right now happened,
Yeah.
and I'm like, they showed it so casually or a little bit too casual for my liking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, like no one's gonna get that shock value. They're just gonna be like, oh, well, how is this gonna like happen? Like what else happens after this now? It's not like what? da 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 da.
Yeah.
What where we go now? It's kind of like, well, it's whatever now. We already know. Like,
Yeah.
I can't go into detail. I just
No. Brennan, do you have any thoughts?
On JJK or Attack on Titan?
The
Attack on
JJK.
Or
Titan
both? Or
or
both?
both.
I
I'll just
mean,
say both. I
both.
say we just wrap these two together since it's kind of like a similar situation. Like a lot got shown, arguably too much. But I think it's just like for the JJK trailer, you know, I think a lot of people feel the same way that everyone else does. Like a lot was shown, but
Yeah.
also they're trying to sell a movie to people who don't read the manga.
Yeah,
So
because
while
it's
we
kind of like,
understand, hold on, while we all understand what's going on, or we all understand the events that they're showing, the X amount of people who I don't know who hasn't read it because those manga sales went crazy, but whoever
yeah.
hasn't read it and plans to see it, like, you know, they're not going to understand. So they're just going to look at it as hype, which I think is the same thing that like Attack on Titan was shooting for. Because, like, for example, Diego, I know you haven't read it, but like, I'm going to be honest, I ain't read any of the meat and potatoes. I literally just read like the last like two chapters.
Of
So like
Attack on
I
Titan?
know so like I know the ending and like I've seen things
Oh,
that
shit, bro.
happen throughout.
Mhm.
Like cuz like I sometimes I'll watch video like that's why sometimes I know things that happen in One Piece. Like a video and thumbnail will catch my eye and I'll be like, "Dang, well, it's popped up like 5 times. So I guess it's just telling me to watch it." So I'll watch it and it'll like talk about like the newest chapter or whatever. And I did that a couple times for Attack on Titan. So like I know bits and pieces, just I don't know it as a whole.
Mhm.
But like I didn't watch it, and maybe it was just because I wasn't paying attention as much as like you guys were, or as much as Adrian was. But I didn't get anything. I was just like, cool, like. But
listen,
Out
there
of
that's
is a
also
lot of
out of the Attack on
insinuating.
Titan trailer?
that's how I view trailers though. Like I don't look like JJK is different because I've read it, so I know exactly everything that's going on and stuff like that. But even then, like I didn't look at it and think, wow, they showed too much. I just looked at it and I was like, damn, I can't wait to see like all this happens scene by scene, like as one whole story,
Yeah.
instead of it jumping around and stuff. Like when I've watched, like it's the same thing for Demon Slayer. When I read something or whatever, when I watch the anime or the trailer, like I was literally just telling Adrian this, like it sucks like watching Demon Slayer right now because I'm like, oh, I just want them to keep pumping out episodes because I want to watch it. Like I'm the complete opposite of you, Diego. Like when after I've read it, it doesn't kill my like want to watch it. It makes me want to watch it
Well,
more because I'm like I know what happens and I'm so excited to see it animated. So that's kind of how I feel with both of these trailers. Like I know pretty much what's gonna happen, but I'm excited to see it all put together in a moving like we can see moving fight scenes and stuff like that. Like I get excited for that. I don't try to look deeper into the trailer other than me getting hyped for the upcoming things.
see, I think I don't know, man, because like the closer and closer that we get to the Volume Zero movie, I think I've realized that it's really just the animation quality that dictates whether I want to watch it or not. Because like if you've been listening for a while before, I've said that like I've read some more of Tokyo Revengers, but you know towards the end of the season, aside from like an episode or two here or there, I didn't really feel a need to watch it. And part of it was because yes, I just read through all of what was going to happen, but at the same time, I know beat for beat what's going to happen in Volume Zero, and I cannot wait to watch this movie. And part of it might just be because of the animation, and the animation is like making me want to see it, even though I know what's going to happen. But I don't know.
I just want to see what they add.
Yeah, and
Honestly,
that's
Yeah,
they
also
added a
another
lot
thing.
more.
But
but
we've been
I
talking
mean,
about Jujutsu Kaisen / Attack on Titan for way too long. So
yeah, I mean, you brought up Tokyo Revengers, and there's some news that Tokyo Revengers just got dropped.
yeah, let's move on to that. Sure, let's just go out of fucking order. That's fine.
Well, I
What?
don't know the order,
No,
but it
I
was a
have like
good,
a specific
it's a
order
good
that I wrote
transition.
down, but it's a good transition. Yeah. So what is it? The Christmas. I don't know what it's called. The following arc got announced that they're doing
I
it.
think it's just the Christmas arc or the Fall of Christmas arc or something like that.
I
I
don't
forgot
By the
remember.
exactly.
Christmas start.
I just looked at the post. I don't
Listen, I go
remember.
by gangs arc, not
Yeah,
fucking
Yeah.
Black Dragon arc.
Yeah, the Black Dragon arc.
Yeah.
So that's what the three of us know it as. It's
You know
I
what?
know for a fact that it's like officially called something different.
It's the
But
Mitsuya arc. That's all that matters.
yeah, so as we said last week, if you're a huge Mitsuya fan, you're really gonna enjoy this next arc. Did they announce when it's coming out, or they just say
No,
that it's happening?
they just announced that it's official. It is getting a season 2. I think it's like starting production or whatever. So there's no information other than it. Like it's coming.
That's fine. That saves us some fucking time.
Probably, I would assume mid to late 2022. Probably. But yeah,
So
this arc's gonna go crazy, bro. If you, to be honest, we keep saying Mitsuya, but like, if you're a big like Takamichi person, or if you're not a big Takamichi person, this arc will make you like him more.
and there's some characters that are going to be introduced that I think a lot of people will really like.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, some of those characters we've seen. Actually, one of
the characters we've seen before, but yeah. But
they get fleshed out in this arc.
yeah, they get fleshed out, and honestly, he's one of my favorite characters. Like one of my better liked characters. I don't want to say he's one of my favorite characters because I've got like a list before him, but I really enjoy
You enjoy him more than others.
Yeah, I enjoy him a lot more than others, and I feel like if I didn't already have like a an attachment to Takamichi, Mikey, Hinata, and the list goes on, like he would definitely be in, that top 5 realm. But I feel like all of the characters, like within the first season and a couple like worth of chapters, are like fleshed out really well. You get to like them really more, or a lot more. And towards the end of what? Leave me alone, dude.
I like him really more.
I told you my brain isn't working today. And towards the end of this arc, I feel like if you don't like Mikey for whatever reason, you'll end up liking Mikey a lot more. That's all I'm going to say. So, unless you guys have anything else to add on to that, I'm going to move on to the next thing.
Nah, we can move on. It's not like big news.
All right, so we're jumping back into the big 3 with the following 2 or 3 announcements, I guess. So the first one is a pretty quick one. We got the One Piece movie Red character designs for all of the Straw Hats. We're not really going to go too deep in detail except for the ones that we like. And I'm going to be honest, bro, I'm kind of disappointed in Zoro's design just because it looks really bland compared to everybody else's, especially Brook. If you haven't seen the designs, that's what I'm saying. If you haven't seen the designs personally, look them up because Brook is drippy as fuck.
Let's be honest though, Brook is always drippy.
It's like him and Chopper for like the drippiest. And speaking of Chopper's design, he has they took away his drip fruit and gave it to Brook. I don't know what's going on with that. Like,
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of liking Frankie and Usopp's. Usopp looked like he's from a Kiss member. Like, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, he's
Frankie
from Kiss,
looked like
bro.
he just a walking, talking radio.
And Robin a baddie, bro. As always.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is gonna be. It's not a musical. It just has music theme. Hopefully, it's not a musical. I don't.
That would be fucking crazy. Dude, the fucking movie about Shanks is a musical. That'd be beautiful. That would be such a fucked up thing.
That'd be fucking a goofy ass shit, bro.
Give me some party.
I feel like with this movie, I didn't know if the Straw Hats were going to be involved with this, but now it's official. They are.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna also say. Is like, the character designs aside, we do know for sure that the Straw Hats are gonna be in the movie in some capacity. Which at the same time, just the way that they look, I'm kind of worried that maybe this isn't a canon movie at all.
I don't think it is because they're usually not. Maybe they'll have like canon elements, like how Stampede had Laugh Tail instead of Raft Tail, and they changed the names of it. But maybe we'll get a side of Shanks, and maybe we'll get more. I don't want to say development necessarily, but more of like about his character himself.
Yeah, but I feel like whether canon or not, I'm sure that a bunch of people would still love to see the movie regardless. Because I mean, all of them have done really well for the most part.
I mean, yeah, and especially just because Shanks is in the movie too, and it's confirmed that he's actually going to be in the movie and not like, oh, he'll just look
He'll
around,
pop
say
up for
cool
like
shit.
5 minutes. Yeah,
No, he's gonna have plenty of scenes in the movie. I just hope
that's
that it's
good.
not backstory scenes where it's just him as a kid, but he just walks up and finds this girl that can just sing apparently, and it's just them on an adventure while he's still with the Roger Pirates. Because then it's like, oh, there's Shanks, but that's not the Shanks I want. You
Yeah.
know,
That's not my Shanks.
I don't want kid Shanks. I want raw.
Not
I want
my
my dad
Shanks.
Shanks.
All right,
I
well,
want the stigma Shanks, man.
yeah.
Stigma male Shanks, bro.
I'm dead. All
I'm
right.
so close to being done with Punk Hazard.
Oh, what are you thinking of Punk Hazard?
I'm enjoying it. It kind of like I was enjoying the build up. Right now they're in the like trying to get off the island,
Yeah.
but I was gonna say it started slowing down, but then Monet got killed by. Oh, this is like spoilers if you haven't done Punk Hazard, but
Oh,
Monet
we've
got
already
killed
talked about
by
it.
yeah. Monet got killed by Caesar,
Mm-hmm.
and so Dofi got like worried because he's like the island should be destroyed, so he's starting to go over there himself. So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of has me hyped because I'm like, oh snap, what's gonna go down? Like, are they gonna kind of have a little scuffle with Dofi before Dressrosa? But I'll find out in the next coming days.
I was gonna say you'll find out.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's the One Piece update for the week for Brennan. Even though this is like the first time that that's happened. Anyways,
Mhm.
so keeping it in tune with the big three. I guess not really the big three because it's Boruto, but we got promotion for the next arc in Boruto. I think, which I
No,
watched
I
the.
don't
Is it the next arc or no?
know. It's literally just promotion for at least the trailer that I saw. It literally just goes throughout all of Boruto anime until
Oh,
now, which is just all the can. I don't know. I don't know what
I
they
don't
added
know, man. I
filler.
just saw Boruto fighting Sasuke, and
Oh
um,
yeah, this is to the current like where they are, where to end. They already ended that arc like a couple weeks
the
ago.
Kawaki
So
arc.
that's not the Kawaki arc. I mean,
Well, that
Kawaki's
the
introducing the arc.
video that I watched was for the Kawaki arc. It was promo for the Kawaki arc. At least that's what the
I'm,
video said.
I mean, if it's for the Kawaki arc, then that is definitely not a Kawaki arc. I mean, it
Uh,
is, but because he gets development, but it's just like, is it
I
called the
don't know.
Kawaki arc? I don't think it's
He
called
got
that. I
like
don't
that
even know what to
tattoo
call for the
thing that
arc.
covers his eye. That's all I know.
Karma Seal.
Yeah, the Karma seal. That looks sick. So,
I don't even know what to call arcs for Boruto, to be honest.
dude, I don't know. It doesn't even fucking matter. Also, aside from Boruto, we also got I guess like a kind of I don't even know what to call it. It's a video that is saying basically that there's going to be something happening next year because next year is the 20th anniversary for Naruto. So, I don't know what the hell they're going to do, but I just thought that it was interesting that it was kind of like a showing everything that happened. Or it's the 20th anniversary of like the show starting, I should say.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, most big news is about Naruto and not Boruto, anyways. Hmm.
damn, damn, Boruto fans, you gonna take that? I'll help join them too. Your show doesn't really get relevant until Naruto's in it.
I'm dead.
Oh.
I'm dead.
But
All
I mean,
right.
I will say to defend my case. Boruto chapter has been going off recently, and not because of Naruto.
That's
Crazy how that
crazy.
works.
I don't need any defending in my case. Most news that I see from Boruto is Naruto related. Point big period. That's just facts on my standpoint of what I see. Now, if you see something otherwise, cool, good for you. I'm just speaking upon what I see. And if you hate me for it, bring it on, baby. We all know I
Fair
love
enough.
making people mad anyways.
All right. Well, something that can't get slandered whatsoever because it just looks amazing. We got a trailer for Hell's Paradise's new anime, and
That is not where I thought you were going.
I'm trying to figure out. I don't know what the fuck's going
Well,
on.
you wanted to keep it in the big three, and Dragon Ball is like
Well,
an
because
honorary, non-honorary
fuck
big
Dragon
three
Ball.
member.
It'll never
No, I
be. It
would
was
just say
never
it's
the
a
big three.
grandfather.
It'll never be the big three.
It's grandfather to the big three. That is
Yeah.
it.
But it's fuck. I can't even think of a good diss, to be honest. We're just gonna keep it moving. Hell's Paradise. It looked amazing. If you haven't seen the trailer, go see it. It looks really good.
Bro, Mappa's in their bag, bro.
I was gonna say Mappa be
Those
going
poor
crazy.
workers.
they
Those
they
poor
not seen
workers
their
better
they're
be
not
making
seeing their
8
families for a
figures.
hot minute.
Dude,
They're
they're
like, Mappa, can we please see our family once? They said no.
No.
Boy, work, work.
finish
You don't
Jujutsu
animate that
Kaisen,
damn
Hell's
season.
Paradise, everything. right
Attack on
now.
Titan.
Yeah,
Part
Attack
2.
on
You
Titan,
better
Attack
show
Top
him eating a
Destiny,
dumpling. You better make him
everything.
look
Chainsaw
good.
Man. Bruh.
But yeah, it looks really good. I know nothing
We have
about
no
Hell's
idea what the
Paradise.
story is, so I
Yeah,
don't.
none of us have read that, so
It's a finish. I
God
think
knows I'm
it's
gonna be watching
finished.
it.
but
It
yeah,
is finished. I'm pretty
It is
sure.
finished.
it is
so
finished.
okay. So I was right.
Yashimon's right mangaka is the same one that did Hell's Paradise.
Yeah,
All right. So then, hopefully, we get a fire ass story coming from this. It looks fire. It looks like it's a revenge story a little bit. So
I have no
You look
idea.
like a revenge story.
you damn right. Call me Thorfinn, bitch.
I'll call you pussyless.
Bruh. Okay, so do you guys have anything else to add before we move
There's
on?
not much we can say. We can't.
Yeah, it looked good. It's very interesting. I wanted to read it, but it's not on Shonen Jump, so
Yeah.
You have to go through a random site.
yeah, which I'm not doing.
So
Sorry.
speaking of something that looked interesting until I figured out what it actually fucking is, Black Clover got a game announcement, but unfortunately, it's a fucking mobile game, which really just made me upset because it looked interesting. The trailer was really fire, and then
The open world too.
exactly, and then they're like, "Yeah, it's a mobile game," and I'm like, "Are you fucking serious?"
But that's the thing. No
It's kind of
anime
like
game, no anime game does good on console.
I want to
Demon
say
Slayer,
that.
Demon Slayer.
Dragon Ball and
Yeah,
Naruto
but
and
no,
fighters.
are usually
No,
the
but
best
listen,
ones that do.
that's different than an open world anime
yeah,
game.
you're right. Well,
Yes.
so it's kind of like also we didn't talk about this last week, but I think Full Metal's getting a video game too, and it looked like a fighting game, at least from what I saw, and I'm really pissed that it's also a mobile game because that's fucking bullshit. But
Yeah, console games are usually like
I'm just
kind of
like, dude,
lazy, like Jump Force.
Like, you can't go wrong. Like, as long as it's a good fighting game, aside from the one, Naruto Storm-esque Black Clover game, that's different. But like,
They already had a Black Clover game that was on console, and it was dog shit too.
It was a Naruto Storm-esque kind of game.
Was it? I thought it
yeah.
was like a TDM type.
No, it was
shit.
an arena fighter.
Oh.
It did ass. But aside from the
I almost
mobile
forgot
game
about it.
announcement, we also got a visual, I guess, of I saw the picture. I don't really know what the hell to describe it as. It's just a picture of Yuno.
It's a picture. It's a picture of Yuno in his vice captain uniform that we see all the time, anyways. So,
all right, well, that's a spoiler for me, but that's totally fine because he looks pretty much exactly the same. Aside from that,
exactly. Why it's not a spoiler.
I mean, it's a spoiler that he becomes a vice captain, but it's really not that big of a spoiler to me, at least. And then moving on from that, we got 2 announcements for Chainsaw Man, I guess, which would be the part 2 for Chainsaw Man is starting in summer of next year. And apparently,
I'm about to read Chainsaw Man.
I'm saying,
go for it, bro.
But
because we're not gonna get it for a hot minute.
Facts, dude. Leading into the second thing that I was gonna mention. We got another trailer for Chainsaw Man, which showed a bunch of manga panels and like 5 seconds of Maki being Makima?
Sexy. Makima, yes.
Yeah, Makima looking sexy as fuck.
You gonna start barking. I know you.
Listen. Shh.
You gonna growl and say, Makima.
But dude, honestly, given that, we still haven't gotten a release date, I'm probably gonna assume it's either going to be fall or winter.
I'm assuming it's fall, winter.
It's just
because we don't have a release date and we already have a release date for Bleach and it's already coming out in October. That's why I'm assuming it's gonna come out in December 2022.
Yeah.
It just sucks because we saw a trailer so early, and now it's just like, damn, it's so far
anyways,
away now.
what I was trying to say before we moved into the trailer section, because it was like an unavoidable transition. Apparently the mangaka for Chainsaw Man wants to do it in parts, like with JoJo's. I don't know if you knew that, but I found that out literally today, and I thought that was really interesting.
I didn't hear about that. If that is true, it's not gonna have like the same flow as. I mean, it's not gonna be like, oh, different character. No, it's still gonna be centered around Denji, like for sure.
Yeah, it was kind of like part 2 and 3, like it's not focused on Joseph, but Joseph is still a main character kind of thing.
And not
I'm not saying exactly like that. I'm saying similar to that. Like Denji is still going to be there. Anyways, I guess, dude, this list, I can't think of a good transition for any of this shit. Dragon Ball Superhero got the trailer. It looks exactly like Fighter's animation. If I do say so myself, I didn't really pay that much attention to it, I'm going to be honest, so if I'm wrong, I do not apologize.
So for the superhero movie, it honestly doesn't look bad for something that is CGI, and most CGIs are kind of shit, but
looks
totally
watchable.
totally putting in some budget and getting some good CGI animators on it instead of putting
I'm
money
pretty
in
sure,
machine.
given how well Fighters did, they were probably just like, you know what? Let's just take the fucking animation for this game and just make a movie out of it. Because
no, the reason they have it as that animation style is just because, like,
listen here, Mr. Well, actually, head ass. I'm just giving my thoughts, motherfucker. Okay.
Piece, and One Piece has some like amazing animation just because they don't want to fuck up like the Japan culture, since Wano is in that Japan culture.
Yeah.
And if they fuck it up, then they're gonna like.
Are you telling me that when when Wano is over, it's gonna go back to like Dressrosa fucking style?
I hope not, but like that's why their animation's been like so fucking good.
Like you're trying to say.
But, I mean, that's what it sounds like. But when I heard it too, I'm like, damn, does it mean that they're gonna go back to like shitty animation?
I'm dead.
I hope not, but that's like the reason why we're getting CGI. Super. Some people want them to delay it, but
I have no idea what's going on because I don't care for Dragon Ball anything aside from Fighters. But I watched the trailer and it looks somewhat interesting. Like I said, I have no idea what's going on, but I mean, it looks.
This seems like more
the movie is going to really hit Gohan fans.
Yes.
If people love Gohan, then this movie is probably going to be good for them because they're putting a very heavy focus on Gohan in the trailers. And just to put this in perspective, Gohan, Diego, was heavily screwed over after the Cell Saga in Dragon Ball Z.
Is he the one who got killed?
No. He is Goku's son, and they literally made him stronger than Goku.
And then cucked
and then like the original plan was for the essential torch to be passed to Gohan, and Gohan would be the Earth's protector essentially. But the people loved Goku so much and all that Akira Toriyama decided to keep Goku on. So basically what they did is they made Chi-Chi pound school into Gohan to where he became kind of like I don't really want to fight, I just want to study, kind of made him soft. And then fast forward to the like Tournament of Power, the most recent thing that got animated, that's not a movie. They hyped him up again being the Earth's team captain, and he got his mystic form back. You know, everyone thought he was gonna get god power, or he was gonna get some kind of form, or like he was gonna like they might propel him into being like the hero again. And then in the Tournament of Power, nothing really happened with him, and then he ends up getting
I could
eliminated.
Be wrong, but it's kind of like to be with fair, Yamcha, because wasn't Yamcha stronger? Let me
fuck Yamcha.
Talk. Well, because at least this is going off from the context that the game gives me. Wasn't Yamcha stronger than Goku at one point?
No, fuck Yamcha.
Okay.
I don't know about in Dragon Ball, but after Dragon Ball, no.
Okay.
I think he was just a bandit in Dragon Ball for the most part, and then he like trained a little bit.
Yamcha's
Listen.
literally just a meme of a weakling.
Okay. Well, listen, I like playing as Yamcha in Fighters because he's pretty sick. But, anyways,
Yeah, he's useless in
speaking
the
of
show.
useless, that's what this fucking movie is. So, moving on to another thing that somebody else in this podcast thinks is useless. My Hero season 6 got
Yeah,
announced
fuck
for
my hero, fuck
October of
Deku, fuck all
2022.
my fuck everyone.
Season
A
6
bona
will be
fide My Hero
airing in
hater.
fall
Nah,
of
we can move on.
2022.
We can move on. No one cares about
Shut
my hero.
the.
Let's be honest.
I'm going to kick you out of this fucking call.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good when you want to talk about something, but someone cuts you off because they don't like it, does it?
Listen, y'all had last week when I walked away for like 10 minutes to talk about this shit. I'm not listening to it anymore.
Sounds like your problem. You was the one who walked away.
All right, and then also Horikoshi announced that My Hero will end next year if everything goes smoothly. So I don't know. I think was it
Assuming
like
he doesn't get sick.
yeah, and assuming that he doesn't get struck with inspiration for something else to happen.
Yeah, something like that.
That's pretty
So
much
at
what I'm
least
taking from
maybe
that is
40,
he's just
50
kind of like
chapters.
running out of steam and he's like, let's just end this in a smooth way. Which is kind of upsetting because I feel like it got really good, but given the way that the story's going right now, if you are caught up with the manga, keep listening. If you're not, skip to the next subject or next you know what I mean. Skip to the next fucking topic. There we go.
Go to this timestamp.
Yeah, timestamp in the description. Given that like because I felt like it could have been, like going through all of high school and just dealing with different things and then eventually getting to dealing with Shigaraki as like the ultimate big bad. But given how they kind of, sped through all of that shit and like
They
now
time jumped, didn't they?
yes
No,
and
they
no.
didn't time jump. No,
I mean the time jump was like a month, I think, if even.
a small
And
time
even
jump
then,
compared to what I thought they were gonna give us. I thought we were gonna go out of high school.
and even then with the time jump, they also covered everything that happened within that time jump because there was flashbacks for different characters, flashbacks for the rest of UA, all of that shit. And but as I was trying to say is like given how the story's going right now, even if they do deal with Shigaraki, I really don't know. Like, Horikoshi kind of wrote himself into a corner because, like, where do you go after dealing with the most evil in the entire verse? You know what I mean?
He kind of made himself like, I don't want to say
Like,
the
because
same
you
thing with
made Deku
Naruto.
too powerful for him to deal with anybody else, like, and have a struggle. Because at this point, All for One really is the only, unless he wants to do something that will piss off so many people and will kind of make it bad, I guess would be the way to describe it. Basically what I'm saying is when he finally not kills, but like something happens and All for One's going to die. It's unavoidable. He's just going to die. All for One steals all of Deku's quirks except for One for All, which wouldn't make any sense, obviously, if you know what's going on with One for All. But that's really the only way that I can see that working, because if he has all 8 quirks, which he will have by the time that he fights Shigaraki for the final time, it really wouldn't make any sense to continue afterwards. You know?
Yeah, because it's kind of where do you go from there? But
Exactly.
for me, it's just I feel like they're gonna have the final battle as I feel like All for One is gonna die. At least Shigaraki will come, or either. Here's my thing
It
with
kind
All
of
for One.
seems
All for
like
One either be consumed by or be fully embodied in Shigaraki body, and then it's just them two just fighting it out while All for One's body is just dead, composing or decomposing, whatever.
yeah.
And then after that, it's just he's gonna be fighting Deku, and then all of UA just teaming him or
teaming up on him. Yeah.
Teaming up on him, and yeah, like with teamwork, they'll beat him with teamwork. Even though Shigaraki is a fucking menace, or his body is at least, and I don't really see him how people in UA are gonna beat him. But
Yeah, like aside from, unless the only way that I could really see it like as a
unless
feasible
the
kind of
US
fight
hero
is
fucked up his quirks, like they just took out 92% of his quirks. I don't see enough. We don't know how many quirks she took out.
We don't know. I was gonna say, unless like she took out the regen quirk, which I don't think she did, at least from what
we don't know what quirks she did. We don't even know how many quirks she had in general. So that's like the scary part too.
Unless she took out the regen quirk, I really don't see a way of it going easily. But like even then, with all of UA, at least of class 1A, fighting them, or fighting him, I really don't see how at least half of the class is going to be of any use aside from fodder, to be honest. I say that very much enjoying pretty much all of class 1A aside from Mineta. But like there's just some quirks that just are useless in at least a fight against
Horikoshi always has like a creative way to like make someone useful. So hopefully, I know he's good with a pen. So hopefully, we know he can do something writing wise.
Yeah.
So he includes everyone. It is gonna be jarring to see the fucking animal dude summon like a flock of birds and like block.
Like you and I said before we saw Spider-Man, it would have to be like lions and bears and something.
I don't know what he can do
in the middle of fucking
there's
Japan.
Not gonna be an animal in this world that can like handle Shigaraki to any point whatsoever.
Exactly.
This is something you can do. It's only like used for a distraction. So I don't know. That's just where I see it because that's how he written a lot of the UA students, especially 1A, because a lot of them are fodder, which sucks because some people like them. I know a lot of people in the My Hero fandom just don't care about the 1A class. At least like half of them.
Yeah, I mean, I say that I like a majority or like almost all of them, but now that I'm thinking about it, there are a handful because I completely forgot that the nature dude existed.
Anyways, no one really remembers him.
Yeah,
I just remember him because he's useless. Same with the Shibu dude or Sugar Rush dude. He's strong, but it's just
he's strong, but like he's for like just so like removed from minutes. Like the story,
and he's not even that strong either.
Exactly. But we've spent almost an hour talking about all of this, and I really didn't want to spend an hour talking about all of this. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to blaze through the last, like, few things that we had, the last few topics, I mean. So, since none of us read Spy Family aside from me, I think, Spy Family got another trailer. I, unfortunately, did not get the chance to watch it, but it's going to be great. I mean, from the first trailer, it looked amazing. Any thoughts, either of you?
I mean, I don't really know what to really expect other than daughter that knows way too much and is probably going to get away in the missions of the husband or boyfriend or whatever they are, what kind of couple they are.
Yeah.
So I just want to see that dynamic or family dynamic happen. That's about it.
Brennan?
Looks cool. We can move on.
All right, Rurouni Kenshin got a trailer.
Oh,
I'll give this to you, Adrian.
What I'm hoping for, we don't know much about this, so all I'm gonna say is it's either gonna be a reboot of the series, and if that's the case, that's dope. If not, it's gonna animate the final arc because the original anime only had fillers and didn't animate the final arc, surprisingly. And I heard the final arc is good, so hopefully we get either of those two, and I'll be happy with either of those. That's it.
And then after that, we also got a Devil is a Part-Timer Season 2 trailer.
It's a cool trailer. I don't know what's going to happen because I've only watched the first season.
Yeah, I was going to say I haven't seen Season 1, so I have no opinion.
Oh, I have seen Season 1. I'm stupid. But I don't. For one, I don't remember because it was years ago, and it's like.
I was gonna say, I feel like Season 1 came out forever ago because it's been a fat minute since I've listened.
I think it was out since like 2015.
Yeah, it's been like 12 or 14 some or 16 years since the first season came out. So
So this is like
16.
a Blue Exorcist kind of situation. That's crazy.
yeah, it's been a while. It's like in the teens, I'm pretty sure.
What the
That
fuck?
That's wild.
Hold
So
on. That
I'm
sounds
gonna
wild to
move on,
me.
Adrian.
Yeah, I know. So let me double check.
So unfortunately, I literally spent like 15 minutes before we started recording trying to find news for both Undead Unluck and Mashal, and I haven't seen anything. So I don't know if there is possibly a trailer for either one of those that I have not seen for their anime or whatever, but as far as
I
I can
looked up
tell,
I looked up both by name on YouTube and
nothing.
like nothing came up that even like looked like it was part of even Jump Festa. So like I don't know.
All right.
It
Well,
must have not been anything like too major.
too major, yeah. So, as we said last week, if there's anything else that pops up, that we didn't cover, we'll touch on it maybe next week if it interests us enough to remember. But that's pretty much all of the stuff for Jump Festa that we A found and B interest us. So, yeah. So we're gonna move on to the Hawkeye season finale. Not really in the order of things that it came out, but I feel like in order of importance and how things happen in life. This is probably the better way. So we're gonna do Hawkeye, Spider-Man, and then Doctor Strange for reasons that we'll explain. But so the Hawkeye season finale.
Okay, so I wanna before we get into it as an episode, I wanna ask you, what do you guys think of it as a series, like compared to the other Marvel series?
Honestly, I personally think that they so say you're not a Marvel fan and you're listening to this for whatever reason. Um a lot of people complained a lot about the finales for pretty much every single show as far as I can tell. Like they had complaints for one reason or another just because it kind of wrapped up maybe too quickly, I think. And in my personal opinion, you can feel otherwise, obviously, but I feel like this one actually was the best finale out of every single show on every single Disney Plus show aside from maybe Loki. And as a whole, I honestly think that, and again, you can feel otherwise, but I honestly think that this was the best one.
Okay, Adrian.
For me as a series, it's like one of the better halves for me. Like I found this series to be very enjoyable. Maybe like one of the top 3 or 4. Like it's tied with Loki for me. Um, as for complaints for the season, I don't have a complaint with the finale, except maybe like a character's events. I'm not gonna get into till we'll talk about it in the season, but that's my only thing.
Yeah, but
Okay.
oh yeah, your thoughts, obviously.
Well, the only reason I asked that is because I'm pretty sure this is like one of the worst rated series
Are
out
you
of Disney
serious?
Plus.
I thought
I
it was
think so.
WandaVision.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
because that's what I was
I
gonna
I
say.
heard I heard a lot of people aren't necessarily happy with it,
Mm,
and personally, this one's my favorite. The only reason I would say I would put Loki maybe ahead of it is because Loki
did a
pushed the
lot more.
MCU as a whole forward,
Yeah,
while this like pretty much just pushed Hawkeye's character. So like I enjoyed this the most out of all of them, but I do think Loki did the most for the MCU as a whole.
interesting. So, before we jump into spoilers, I don't understand why this would be the worst rated one because like the reason why I'm saying it's probably my favorite and or the best is because I feel like with WandaVision, they teased way too much. I love WandaVision, of course, and they just teased way too much because obviously they teased the whole Quicksilver from the Fox universe thing, um, and a bunch of other things that I can't think of off the
Mephisto.
Mephisto, Richard Reed, Reed Richards. I never can remember what his name is. Like there's just way too many things that they teased to that didn't end up panning out, and I know that a lot of people held that against WandaVision, and that's understandable, you know. With Falcon and the Winter Soldier, probably way too short, and they did way too much, I think, would be my complaint. It's been a fat minute since I've even thought of it. Um, with Loki, the pacing was great. I feel like it ended way too, or I feel like I don't even know. Like I loved Loki, but I felt like it just was too short, I guess.
I agree
And
with you on that.
am I missing one?
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I already talked
No, he
about
already
that.
talked about that.
Oh, you talk about it.
What if I haven't even finished What If, but I've
I don't
heard
really count
several.
that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't count that, and I've heard
Oh,
several
I thought we were
complaints of
counting
different
What If.
things. But with I guess with Hawkeye, maybe the only complaint that I really have is that I guess they played it too safe, it like in quotation marks, because they didn't try to do anything crazy. You know what I mean? But it's a very grounded story, and I feel like that's why it's the best because, like you said, Loki pushed it along the MCU as a whole, which makes it objectively the best if I'm going to be honest. I like in my opinion it's the second best, if not the first, tied with Hawkeye. But I feel like if you're a fan of Hawkeye as a character, if you're a fan of the Netflix Daredevil series, if you're a fan of um the new Black Widow, I feel like this show did a lot for all of those characters and a little bit of the world building for future shows, but I being the lowest rated one, that blows my mind.
People don't care about Hawkeye, and
That's so
like for example, my sister loves WandaVision.
Mhm.
Like she loves Scarlet Witch now.
Yeah.
She does not give a flying damn about
Oh,
Hawkeye.
and they tease Doctor Strange in that too. Anyways,
Um,
I
so
it's a shame.
I think it's just a matter of like there wasn't enough character there for them to make a series off of
That's
that was
fair.
going to be as successful as the other ones. Because think all the other ones have like Falcon and Winter Soldier. Whether you liked Falcon or not, Winter Soldier was in it, and most people who liked Captain America liked
Loved
Winter Soldier.
Bucky, yeah. With
Loki,
WandaVision, it's Wanda and Vision, and they built up both of those characters very well in the few movies that they've been in. Loki,
Loki is Thor's brother. People love
everybody
them
has
in the
loved
movies.
Loki since the
So
Avengers movie. So, yeah.
It's kind of hard for them
That,
for
that
Hawkeye.
and then you have Hawkeye, who first appearance was in the first Avenger movie,
no,
was
Thor.
No, he was
Thor.
in
technically
Thor.
evil. What?
His
He was in
first
Thor.
appearance was in Thor.
Yeah, but it wasn't like it was like a very brief,
Yeah, I see
very
what you mean because he was
brief
a
mention.
very hollow character, I guess would be the correct term.
Let me put it this way, I don't remember him even being in Thor. I remember
Yeah,
him maybe being mentioned in Thor, but I don't remember him specifically like showing up and doing anything in Thor.
yeah.
My first recollection memory of him like being in it and being like actually like a character was in the first Avengers movie, and he's like
I would
quote unquote
argue.
evil in the first like for the first half of the movie.
I would argue he wasn't really a character until Age of Ultron.
Yeah, when he actually got like a human side to him,
Yeah,
essentially,
Yeah.
like more than just he's a dude with a bow and arrow that can shoot good.
yeah. Because I remember that was a lot of people's complaints with Avengers, and even me as a kid, I honestly did not give a shit that Clint was there or wasn't there. So
Yeah, so it's like you made a series on someone who you should
had a
have done
rough.
justice by, like in the movies,
Yeah,
but like
that's
you
fair,
didn't.
I guess.
So that's the only thing I can think of, because if you watch it for what it is, it's actually a really good series,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
It's a very grounded story. It's a very like it wraps up pretty much everything aside from, the two things that will continue forward that we'll discuss after this. But that's such a shame. Anyways, unless you two have anything else to say, I think we should start talking about the show.
No, yeah, let's get into
Yeah.
this final finale.
So it was an
Final finale.
hour-long finale, which was fucking great. My only complaint is that there wasn't really an after credit scene. I mean, they showed us, that play.
The whole play.
Yeah,
Dude,
which
I wanted them to pan to a character so bad. Like,
so did
just
I.
I did too. I thought
Like
it
you
was gonna
just
be
see
like
you just
Caitlin
see
Quinn
Matt
watching and
Murdock
say,
just
"Man, this
sitting
is
there
ass."
chilling, listening to it or something. But
Spider-Man, old Steve, someone.
somebody. Anyways, yeah, whenever they kept going to the director for it, I thought that they were gonna like pan away from him, but they didn't. Anyways, about the actual episode, it was they did a lot, but it didn't feel like they did too much. Cause there was
They did
like
just the right amount.
yeah, because there was like
Yeah.
there was a lot of there was 3 different conflicts going on at one time at like the climax of the episode, and I know I'm jumping way too far forward, but it's fine. And it honestly didn't feel like there was too much going on because every single fight that was happening was like the perfect amount. But anyways, we're going to go back to the beginning of the episode, which if you haven't seen or if you've seen last week's episode, obviously there was an allusion to a certain character, and even from the first episode, I think there was an allusion to a character who was finally revealed to be Kingpin from the Daredevil series. And I'm actually surprised that he got as much screen time as he did this entire episode. Am I alone in that?
I'm not. They've
No.
been building to it.
Yeah, I feel like he was going to be.
I
the
think
main
it's
villain.
kind of
not
like
the main villain, but the final villain they fight.
I think it's kind of what's it called? Like PTSD, I guess, from the previous final villains for like the previous shows. Just because like the conflict with Agatha Harkness was really short. The conflict with John Walker was really short. The conflict with the most important one. The dude at the end of Loki. I do not remember his
Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah, Kang the
Yeah.
Conqueror. There we go. The conflict with Kang the Conqueror was long, but the actual conflict was short.
It's just a debate.
Yeah, it was just a debate, which like he obviously got the most screen time, but like action wise, he was the shortest. So given that Wilson Fisk was like, pretty much in, I want to say like a good 15-20 minutes of the episode, it was pretty surprising, and it was like really a welcome surprise, I would say. But it somebody else take this because I don't know where to go from
Okay,
here.
so it starts off pretty much where the last episode picked up. So you see the mom actually talk to Fisk, and basically what's happening is she's telling him she wants out. So what we find out about the mom, which I think is pretty interesting, is the mom wasn't technically part of the whole mob scene. It was her dad who was actually part of the whole mob scene. And the mom got roped into it because the dad borrowed a bunch of money from Fisk. So I think that's very interesting to see that the mom, like, while we all think that the mom like has these ties and has all these things, it's really like it was her dad. The mom wasn't always like this like secretive woman. At least that's what I got. I don't
Yeah.
know if maybe it was like they were in it together, but it seemed heavily like the dad screwed up, passed away, and then the mom had to kind of like take control of it so that Kingpin didn't, go after the family as a whole. You learn that Jack is actually not
Innocent.
evil at all. Like
He's actually a good guy.
like yeah, he's actually a pretty
Yeah.
decent. I don't want to say good, but he's decent. He's not a villain.
Yeah. Which
Um,
is a really weird, like if you know the character, it's a really weird turn of events that he's like not evil whatsoever. He's just a dork.
I will say it is my only gripe with this series so far has been this episode. I'll get into that a little bit later. But basically she tells him she wants out. And then when she leaves, and he's obviously pissed, but then Maya walks in, and Maya basically tells him as well, like, I'm done chasing Ronin. He can tell something's up. Like, you can see it in his face. He can tell, like, the whole scene felt awkward. Like it just her and him talking felt awkward.
Mhm.
And it's because like they both know things.
Yeah.
And then she essentially says like I want like a leave of absence, I guess, from, the traffic mafia. Um saying she like just to clear her head, like she just needs time off.
Yeah.
Um so she walks away with him telling her like, "Hey, I love you." And she's like, "Yeah, I love you too." And then he turns to the right-hand man and basically says, "Yo, like
They been
I
no.
Yeah.
like I run this city, like you know what we got to do basically." And everyone's forgetting. Everyone thinks they can just leave and we need to show them like
They can't.
shit ain't all like that.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, it cuts to Hawkeye and Kate. Uh, she's Kate's obviously tripping about her mom because okay, so I don't know how, but Yelena filmed the interaction between Fisk and Bishop's mom.
She
So that was
probably
I don't think she filmed it. I think she like hacked like a CCTV camera because it looked like it was a camera from an angle.
yeah, the only thing I can think of that could make sense was just she hacked the system and sent it to her.
well, however she got the video. She got the video and sent that to Kate just to show Kate like, what's going on. So obviously Kate starts tripping and she tries to call her mom like a fucking idiot. I don't know why you would even do that, to be
Yeah,
honest.
to be honest.
But her mom doesn't answer. Wow, shocker. And then you get like the actual good development of Kate and Hawkeye because she basically tries to tell him like go home to your family. Like this is my problem at this point. Because at the end of the day, Hawkeye has the suit. He could just go burn it, and Ronin would essentially be gone forever. Like he'd just be a myth or a
Yeah.
legend. But he finally calls her like, "Nah, you're my partner. This isn't done until we're both done."
Which that shit made me happy. I was like, "Thank you."
Yeah,
Yeah, that was such a
and
good moment.
it snaps Kate's head too. Like she, even though she didn't like react to it like you would expect her to react after the past couple episodes, you could tell like it hit her. She was
Yeah.
like, "Oh shit, it's my time," which I thoroughly enjoyed. And then, he says like, "Oh, we got to go make some trick arrows." So you get a little
Little
compilation of them
montage.
making, yeah, a little montage of them making arrows, which is cool. I enjoyed it because you see a lot of like there's a lot of like Jimmy rigged ones that he genuinely built, and then there's like Stark, him. Like
Yeah, the
so
Yeah, that
it's
would
like
be dope to have.
I,
it's like a mixture of like busted arrows and then like high tech looking crazy arrows.
I really enjoyed that whole sequence where they got to build like the trick arrows together.
It was almost nostalgic in the sense of like Tony building his suit,
Yeah.
but the Hawkeye version. Um,
Which I
and what
really
was
like
cool
that you
is
get to actually see him making them as opposed to just him having them.
yeah, and I think they did that because it's also showing you like Kate is literally doing everything he does. Like, she gets to see how he makes the arrow. So now, like, if she was ever on her own and she needed a trick arrow or something, she knows it's not I don't have like the technology or I don't have the tools that Hawkeye did. I mean, they were using like grenades and stuff and like stun grenades.
Yeah.
But for the most part, she got to see that it's not anything special. Like he Jimmy rigs it with like go to Lowe's, pick up some tools
Yeah.
and make your arrow,
Hmm.
which I think is good because you know she's already really crafty. We've kind of talked about that. She's you know she has smart like wonky ideas that she pulls out like in the middle of fight scenes,
Yeah.
and then but like now you can see that what I'm insinuating is she's also taking that type of knowledge away and how to make arrows and stuff like that. But after the little montage, they go to the little party. Fast forward to Party Town. Also, I want to say I saw a video. I didn't make this connection since I didn't watch Daredevil. The hotel that they constantly have these like parties in, and where they're old, like basically like the big setting of everything, that little hotel that they always go into, the hotel from like the first episode and everything,
Uh-huh.
is the same hotel that Fisk buys in Daredevil.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
So
cool.
that's also like that was I believe that is their way of saying like that at least that series, that Marvel series from next Netflix, is for the most part canon.
Canon.
I
Yeah.
mean, we have its Daredevil, we have its Kingpin, and now we even have the hotel that it's from. Like, we can assume that some of the events that happen in there has happened in the MCU.
Yeah.
But they go to the
I
party. What?
I was gonna skip forward a little bit, but I'll let you keep going.
Skip forward to the party. I'm not gonna. It's a party. They're looking for her mom and stuff like that. Fast forward a little bit. The tracksuits are obviously now trying to kill Kate's mom, so they crash the party.
I want to say that entire like segment with just Kate and Yelena, and Kate just constantly getting in Yelena's way. I really enjoyed that whole sequence. I thought it was really fucking funny. And like,
Stop making me like you.
yeah,
That was
and then
very
she's
funny.
like, I can't. It's fun.
um,
Dude, when she slapped you on it, that was funny. She's like, "Bro, what'd you even do
Yeah,
that
she was like,
for?"
"What
She's
was
like,
she
that
was like,
"Oh."
"What was
for?"
that?" It wasn't. It was just, "What was that?"
And she's like,
She's
I
like,
don't
"I don't
know.
know."
That
She
was
was
like the
like,
best part of
"That
the season
hurt," and she was
finale.
like, "Yeah, so did the kick to the ribs."
Dude, and then
Elena's like,
after they're
"Yeah,
done
that was a good
fighting, they're
one."
like you like compliment each other's like moves. It's like, "Oh, that's a nice little throw you did back there." It's like, "Oh, thank
I
you."
Um,
think it's funny because like she's trying to assassinate Kate's mentor, but neither of them are fighting each other.
I mean,
Like Kate is
it's
just constantly trying to inconvenience Yelena, and that's like it.
what I'm taking from this is that's your next Hawkeye and Black Widow. Like, that's the next duo. Like, the torch was passed for both of them
Yeah,
in that same relationship. That, because think they both. Clint even says the best shot I ever took was the one I never took,
yeah,
which was he was on a mission to assassinate her. He didn't pull through with it. They end up becoming the closest friends. Yelena's on a mission to kill Bart, meets Kate. They're kind of like becoming friends. She doesn't kill Bart.
Barton.
Spoiler for the end of the episode, but she doesn't kill Hawkeye. So it's kind of like a parallel that I think we're supposed to be drawing
Yeah,
between them two characters, so that we still kind of like. I think whatever next, if they do Young Avengers or whatever happens, like, they're finally gonna do Hawkeye and Black Widow justice. I mean, Black Widow was already done fairly well, but like, we'll actually get to like feel and understand and actually like love their characters,
yeah,
as opposed to them being like, Black Widow was developed on Iron Man movies. So we can finally see them develop on their own as people without the superhero group.
yeah.
But fast forward, Hawkeye jumps into a tree, uh, and Kate gets him down by basically cutting the tree down with some trick arrows.
Dude,
Shout out
that
the trick
acid
arrows.
arrow, that was pretty cool.
That was such a pleasing thing to look at too.
Yeah,
Oh, I also didn't touch on. I love the fact that Kate actually took the time to label each arrow.
yeah. That was a
The
nice
only
little
thing,
touch.
the only thing that I thought was funny was they were putting the names all at the like towards the tip of the arrow, so the part that you wouldn't read while pulling an arrow out.
Well, I think what it probably was is like while she's knocking it, she like glances at what it is, and she's like, "Oh, so this is what I have to use this for." I
Yeah, but I mean, I would have assumed you would want it at the notch so that you could look and be like, "No, I need this arrow," and
Yeah.
I
pull
mean,
it
to
out.
be fair, they don't really like look back on the arrow, say, "Oh shit, wrong arrow," and just grab another one.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
because
no, because that's
from what I'm
movie magic,
assuming, yeah, that too. But I was gonna say what I'm assuming is she's just kind of gonna like she's labeling them so she'll figure out what they're used for. Because I know that like with Clint, he has that whole device on his bow that like obviously puts it on each arrow for him. But you
He
know,
didn't have that in the show.
no, not in this show. But I meant like in Avengers, at least he did.
Yeah.
So like I think it's kind of just like to teach herself what they look like. At least that's what I took away from it.
Who knows?
Yeah, I have no idea. That
But
whole fight sequence though, with the both of them versus all the tracksuit gang guys, that whole sequence was great.
and
I
see, that had one of the creative moments I was talking about. She uses the bow, so she puts the bow on the arrow, kind of like bends it, and then uses it to propel herself and kick someone.
yeah,
She like when it comes to hand combat, she is a very like creative and crafty person. Like every time we
Hmm.
see her do something very creative, it's always in hand combat, and it's sick.
and I love how they make them very distinctive from one another because, like you said, she's very crafty with like hand to hand combat kind of stuff. Where with Clint, he is also crafty, but not in the same way. Like he's not as agile. He's more like brute force out of the two of them because
And he still relies a lot more on his arrows
yeah,
than
and like
his like.
or instead of using his bow to like propel himself forward, he'll just switch it into a cane and start whacking people with it.
Hmm. Which is
The
still cool to look
use
at.
the different uses of the arrows that they showed, I honestly was not expecting like at least all of them. Cause like the magnet arrow, that one when Clint shot it into the thing and it created a magnet for all of those poles to yank away everybody's guns. That was probably the most satisfying use of an arrow that I at least can appreciate.
I like the spinning needle one.
Yeah, the spinning needle one was cool. The one that was kind of like the spinning needle one, but it was with tranquilizer darts instead.
Yeah, I
I
like
liked that one
either of
too.
those two because it just shows how much crowd control either one of those trick arrows have,
Yeah.
which makes them so
The
much useful.
classic
Like,
explosion arrow too.
Yeah, the explosion
That's
arrow.
a staple.
Or the
Mhm.
one that she shoots at the dude's leg and it just rocket boosts him into the air.
dude, that was funny.
I was like, what
I'm
the
trying to
fuck
feel
is
bad for that one
that?
guy.
I was like, that was just 1 second of that, and we're not gonna acknowledge that like whatsoever.
I also like how
Hell
one of
no.
their legs just freeze and they just can't move at
Yeah, I
all.
was
So
like,
it's
that dude's leg is probably that you got to get that shit amputated, my guy. Like,
yeah, he's like, oh,
Um,
there goes your leg.
and during that, we also see all those first responders kind of. It's funny because I mean, obviously they're not in their like police or firefighter uniforms, but like no one's listening to them while they're
yeah,
trying to give directions. So they run inside and they change into their LARPing uniform, and all of a sudden everyone listens to them as if
I could
they're
be wrong,
superheroes.
but I think that was like a nod to the Warriors 3 kind of. At least that's what I took it as. Like yes, there's 4 of them obviously. But like the Thor sidekicks, I guess you could say, the Warriors 3, it kind of looked like there was a parallel between them and the Warriors 3 and Lady Sif because they had like the same color schemes. Like the girl was red and the guys were blue, green, and I forget what the other one was. At least that's what I took away from it. I could be wrong.
I just don't. The only reason I didn't look like I don't see the parallel. Like I don't understand why they'd even want to do that.
I don't
It's
know.
like Hawkeye has nothing to do with Thor. That's the only reason why I'm like that's like one of those like that's a stretch for me.
Well,
You know what I
so
mean? Like
the context for that, for me personally at least, is on Instagram. I saw today that Marvel posted a thing that was like, before you watch the final episode, watch all of these movies, and Thor was one of them. So I'm assuming that the reason why they wanted us to watch Thor is because there was that like parallel. At least
maybe.
yeah, like that's what I took away from that. Like I said, I could be you're right, I could be stretching it way too much, but I don't know.
Then they clear out the big baddies, and then Kate goes off by herself to go get her mama,
Yep.
Mama Bishop.
And those
It's still
3
fuck
separate
Mama Bishop
fights.
for life.
Oh yeah.
For
Those
real.
3 separate fights were very satisfying.
So
Yeah.
yeah, basically while Kate fights for her mom, Yelena catches up to Hawkeye. So now you have those two fights going on,
And
like parallel to each other.
And Maya starts fighting the
Javi,
The
I think
right-hand
that's the
man,
name.
yeah.
I
Kazi.
think.
Kazi, yeah.
Kazi. I thought it was Javi. He's a lot stronger than I.
So,
gave him credit for, to be
this
honest.
is where I kind of want to steal the mic from you, Brennan. I apologize. But if you listened last week, I said that I think that they might power up Wilson Fisk a little bit because
Yes,
in
they
Daredevil,
did.
he pretty much is nothing different than, I guess, a little bit stronger than than an average human. But in this show, they show it very quickly that he is as strong as he should be in the comics, at least.
Mhm.
Because if y'all didn't notice, he yanked that door off that car like it was like it was fucking nothing. And
He tanked a whole ass arrow to
yeah,
the chest.
he tanked a
He
whole
tanked
ass arrow
arrows.
to
He
the
tanked
chest. Every time
explosions.
he hit Kate, she fucking flew. Like it.
This is a lot different from the Daredevil. Like at least portrayal wise, he was way stronger than what he was
But
in
yeah, that's as
Daredevil.
strong as he should be. Like at least as he was in the comics, which was what I was talking about last week. And
Mhm.
even he, like Brennan said, he even survived multiple explosions right in front of his fucking face. So
He snapped all the arrows two in half, like all
yeah,
at the same
all at
time
the
with
same time.
ease, like they were a freaking pencil.
Which I will get to this, but I think that it's kind of disappointing that he may or may not be appearing
He's not dead.
anymore. Yeah, I we'll talk about that in a second. So, continue, Brennan. Maya's fight or Yelena's fight with Hawkeye.
So yeah, while you're getting the parallel and all the crazy like basically ass whooping that Kate's getting, because let's be honest, she's really not getting anything in other than ass whooping.
Yeah,
Um, you get like this nice scene between Yelena and Hawkeye where she's obviously whooping his ass too, but
he's
he's
not fighting back.
not trying. Like he's like yeah, like it's essentially like he's just trying
He's
to get through to her.
yeah,
He's really just trying to talk to her.
like obviously he's not like letting him beat the shit out of him, but like
Yeah, even though she
he's
is.
well, like
Um,
he's just blocking and trying to stop her from hitting him, and you know,
Yeah. Basically, she asks him like what happened cuz she just knows that her sister passed away and that Hawkeye was there for it. Like that's
yeah, and I guess
I think
she
that's
kind of
all that
like
they really told her.
yeah, and I guess she
And the
pieced it together
lady
in the wrong way, or at least the
no,
lady.
the lady who gives her the assignment tells her, "How would you like to kill your sister's killer?"
Oh yeah,
So you can insinuate the lady played it off as if Hawkeye,
killed her.
was the reason Black Widow died.
Yeah, that's all she really knew. Even though that's not, we obviously know that's not how it happened.
Yeah. And so, he obviously says like she sacrificed herself and Yelena's in denial at that point, but
Well,
you can tell she believes it but doesn't want to believe it.
well, that's
Like,
one thing that I do like because in those kind of situations with most movies, like it's kind of like that cliche kind of thing where they're like, "Oh, well, how did they die?" And like the character tells them and then they instantly believe it. But at least with this, Clint goes, "You wouldn't believe me even if I told you." And I really liked that. Just because it's not like he tells her, she believes it, and then they get along. It's kind of like
yeah,
they got to get to it in a different way.
I mean, to be
it's
fair, I don't think she would have believed it at first, anyways. Like, I don't know how you want to believe. Like, oh yeah, you're the person you love to death to sacrifice themselves for me.
Yeah, but
Kind of
like,
hard to
normally in
a purple alien with a nutsack chin also isn't usually in the top. So I mean, anything's on the table at this point, in my opinion. When you could, it's a weird situation because you can kind of tell that she takes it, processes it, and like doesn't completely throw it away.
yeah,
You can tell she like hesitates with it, but she's also like she's so like you can tell that after he says that and she attacks him, she's attacking out of anger. I
yeah,
don't think it's as much as she believes he's lying. It's more of like she even says later on in the fight like, "Why didn't you stop her?" So she feels like so she sacrificed herself and you just let her.
yeah,
And she gets into the if I was there I would have stopped her, and she was like, why didn't you stop her? And he said, I did fight for her, we fought and she won. And that's where he's like, she's stubborn. At that point there was nothing stopping her, she was going to get what she wants.
yeah,
And that's when Yelena kind of like she accepts it. and then she helps him up, and I was thinking he might like hug her or something, but he just kind of puts his hand on her shoulder,
Yeah.
and then she walks away. Like, so going back to what I said earlier, how I have gripes with this episode, my gripes are the Jack situation to me was weird. I didn't like it because it's like you painted him as a villain, and then it's shown that he's a good guy, and then you see him fight with the sword, like he helps the good guys, but then it's kind of just like that's it, and it's one of those like you put time and effort into building this character, and then you 180 the character and then just essentially wrote him off like he's not a big deal. Um,
I agree
I mean,
but
is this like he
disagree.
just kind of sus? And after we find out what he is, it's not like he's too important into the big scheme of anything. So, like, what role does he play left? Or
yeah,
what role
it's
does he
just,
have left?
but like at that point, I'm like, I'd rather you have just not done it and just made her mom just completely sus. Like I don't know. I didn't really care for that ending of his character. I guess given it might not be the ending of his character. We could very well see him come back,
Yeah, I
but
was gonna say.
It's mostly just to
you
fuck with the
know,
viewers too,
yeah,
just like to mislead you.
I personally didn't really like that. The another thing I didn't like was the way they did the Kingpin and Maya like kind of turning on him just because it felt rushed. It felt like it happened way too fast.
Yeah.
It like it's kind of like the like you were saying the cliche of like they tell him something and they just automatically believe it.
Yeah.
Given she had no reason to not believe it, but like it was just weird because that all happened like so fast.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't put this in, but she ends up killing Kazi, in their fight.
Yeah.
Of course,
And
she tries to
then
convince him to run away with her, and he's like, "Nah, this is the life for me. Like it's or nothing." And she basically kills him. All of the conflicts felt like they resolved too quick.
yeah.
Like, Yelena and Hawkeye even. Like while that was a great scene, because of it cutting between Kate's and Fisk's and then Yelena and Hawkeye's,
Mhm.
it felt too fast for me. And like I would have rather them cut each fight into its own little like 5 to 10 minute segment each,
Mhm.
and like done a good solid scene for each of them. You know what I mean? Instead of going back and forth. Because then you cut out half the, like half the stuff that goes on. Because like while Fisk and Kate are fighting, Yelena and Hawkeye are still fighting and saying things. What's being said there? Like, what are they doing? Or they could have made at least Hawkeye's thing a little more sentimental.
Yeah.
Um, but that was my main gripes was just the ending of how they wanted to tie certain things up. Oh, and the only thing I wanted to see is I wish Daredevil would have came in and like helped Kate like
Yeah.
kind
Low
of
key,
like fight not Bishop, Kingpin.
Kingpin, yeah.
I think that would have been a cool little like nod because it's like we've got Kingpin, um, and then I was gonna say something else, but we'll get into that later.
I was
We
gonna
got
say that I've
Kingpin.
got the one gripe that I have. I want to wait until we're done talking about everything before I say it.
Yeah, we got Kingpin and stuff like that. Like, it would have just been cool to see even Matt Murdock just walk by and just kind of like, I don't know, say something to Kate like, "Hey, if you need a lawyer, like, let me know," because he was getting ready to go in there, but she handled it, and or something.
I
But
thought he would have
uh,
showed up instead of Maya showing up in front of Kingpin. That's
Yeah.
just me.
Yeah.
yeah,
That was that's one of the things that I wanted to say.
and then like Diego was getting into at the end, after all the fighting said and done, we go into a scene where Kingpin's walking through an alley because obviously even though he tanks an explosion, he's not dead. He's Kingpin. Um, and a car pulls up. It's the what are they called? The Tracksuit Mafia.
Yeah.
Yep.
Their moving brothers car, whatever.
Trust him, bro.
Um, yeah, Trust Bros. And Maya walks out with a pistol and
caps his ass.
The camera kind of pans up in classic MCU fashion, and then you see the flash and you hear the gunshot, and then it immediately cuts to the next scene.
Well, you hear his
So-
body
Hear the
drop.
body thud.
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you kind of get the insinuation he dies, and if that's the case, that's going to be a gripe for me because there's going to be a lot more you can do with Kingpin.
Yeah, so that's
feel
what
like-
I wanted to get into. I feel like if he does actually end up dead, which I don't believe is true, I'm just gonna say it flat out. But if he is actually dead, I feel like that's kind of a shame because there's a lot that you could do with him, and that like he's a really good character and a really good villain that I feel like that would just be kind of wasted potential, I guess. And with that being said, I also have no idea what the fuck they're gonna do for Echo if he does end up being dead.
I very much see the old classic. He hit the gun somewhere, it still went off, but then he just knocked her out. Like he just hit her and knocked her out, and then
Ooh, true.
just kind of
He like knocks the
that's
gun
body
away.
you hear
and,
drop
yeah, her
Yeah.
body is the one that drops. That's
because he knocked her out and he just got away.
yeah. I didn't even think about that actually.
That to me,
I didn't
that's
either.
like that's my assumption of what would have happened, because I don't see why you would bring them in just to kill him off that fast. Like, it's kind of weird, but it is what it is. But after that, we go into the good old. You see the car pulling in. It says Christmas Day, and obviously it's Hawkeye getting to his family on Christmas, keeping his promise to his daughter from the first episode or second episode.
One of the
Um,
episodes.
And the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, like, this motherfucker better have bought Kate. Like, they're like, after all you've been through, you better bring her and stuff like that. And then they kind of do a pan around of the car, and it looks like he's the only one in the car. And I'm like, dang, so he really just left her like that without a mom. Like,
Yeah, with no family.
I was like, dang, she only got a blind dog. And
They left her alone.
so he then goes and he starts pulling presents in his bag out the trunk, and then right before he like goes to close the trunk, he kind of does that little like smile, little snarkle, and says, "Are you coming?" And that's when you hear Kate come around the corner, and she's like, "Yeah, are you sure this is okay?" Like, obviously she don't know his family, and she just kept Hawkeye away from his family for freaking forever.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, no, they'll love you." So they walk in, and they all greet each other. You see Hawkeye greet his wife and all the kids and stuff like that, and it's all nice, happy-go-lucky. And then this is where you get a little bit of information, another little interesting tidbit. He says, "Look what I found at an auction in New York City." And he pulls out the watch from the first episode that they put importance on, and he hands it to his wife. Turns out it was his wife's watch, and he tells her, "How about you start looking after your things a little better," or something, like a little joke. And she flips it around, and it has a shield emblem on it, and I believe the number was 19 or 9.
It was 19.
One of the 19, and that she is, what's the name?
Mockingbird.
Yeah, Mockingbird. So she was actually a superhero just like Hawkeye.
Which
Now, will they do something with it? Probably not. I think it
I
was
don't
more
see
of
it.
just like a little like, oh look, like he married another like shield agent superhero. Cool. And just to give the watch some kind of meaning. I mean, I don't know. Diego would probably know more on this topic than me and Adrian.
Give me a second.
Yeah, I saw it. To be honest, I didn't even know what that was. I just saw a video that told me what it was and what it meant. Because when I saw it,
didn't
I
know
was
what
like,
it was either.
yeah, I looked at it, I was like, I don't even know what this is, so whatever.
Like at first, I thought the watch belonged to Black Widow. I'm like, Black Widow never wore a watch stuff, so I don't know why even if it did, I don't know why he's giving it to his wife.
I thought the watch was a secret hidden like Stark technology thing. Or maybe it could have been one of the watches from the time heist. I didn't know. I was like, I'll figure what it is later. Like, I'll see a video that talks about it or something.
Yeah, I'm like still wondering like, does that other than like, oh, it's her watch? Does it have any importance though? Like, is it
Probably
something
not.
that's threatening? Yeah,
I mean, it's Shield, so it probably has some kind of like hidden feature to it. But
So yeah,
probably, but
so okay, so what I was thinking was wrong. But I was gonna say I think Mockingbird is like the Marvel equivalent to Black Canary, but I was wrong. She's literally just kind of like what is it, Agent 13? She's pretty much kind of like Agent 13, but you know, she gets married to Clint. She's
hmm.
just a really like significant agent of Shield, which
So it's just a nice Easter egg.
kind of, but I that's actually like my biggest gripe with this episode, just because like her name's Laura, but I forget her last name, but Mockingbird is her name is Barbara Bobby something. So the fact that it's like a completely different person who gets Agent 19, aka Mockingbird, is kind of weird. And it kind of just, I feel like if anything, this kind of confirms that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that TV show that's finally ending after God knows how long, is not MCU canon, if you weren't already aware.
I thought it was confirmed to be canon.
No. Like it's been going back and forth from canon and not canon, and I think that this was finally the nail in the coffin of, yeah, no, this isn't canon.
Hmm. Well, anyways, we're gonna move on from that because, to be honest, to me, it's irrelevant
Yeah,
information.
irrelevant information.
um,
The only thing that
we
I can
then
think of is maybe, sorry for cutting you off, is maybe she will be an actual like character aside from being his wife in the future, but I don't know.
nah, I don't see that being.
Yeah,
I
I like I said,
I
I
don't
don't
see
know.
that. Um, but after we get that nice little what I'll consider an Easter egg for now, unless we, for some reason, they think people care enough about Hawkeye to see more about his wife. But let's be honest, people don't care about Hawkeye anyways.
Which is
So
unfortunate.
exactly.
yeah.
He then asks Kate to help him with something, and they go out and they burn the Ronin suit. And I don't know if you guys kind of like caught on to it, but like the literal torch was kind of passed because he hands her the match and she lights it
Yeah.
and then
Mhm.
burns away the Ronin costume. And then she's like, oh, can I gotta ask you something. And she was like, how does Lady Hawk sound? So she starts going over names, like kind of them putting like the nail in the coffin of like, this is your new Hawkeye. Because right as she says like 3 or 4 different names, that he's like, that one's worse than the first one. That one's just terrible. No. And then he goes, I got something. How about, and then it just cuts to the Hawkeye thing.
Yeah.
So kind of insinuating he basically tells her like, just be Hawkeye. You're Hawkeye now. Like this was my last mission. I'm, like I said, I passed the torch to you. They just, had a very small torch in a box filled with other torches. Um, you know, I thought I liked that scene actually, like watching him hand the matches to her, because literally that's instantly what popped in my head was this is like the physical version of them passing the torch on.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this is them telling us like, that's it. We're cutting off the Ronin storyline, which should be the cutoff of like Clint Barton's Hawkeye. Obviously he might make appearances here and there as like mentorly advice or whatever, but like Kate Bishop is now Hawkeye. So if we see Hawkeye related content in the future, it will likely be Haley Steinfeld. Bless the gods. Thanks for choosing her. Um, it should be her carrying out the Hawkeye mantle. I mean, let's be honest, MCU, they like to do a lot of New York stuff, especially with the things that we've seen in this episode and content that's been just released. New York City is a very big place for the MCU.
For Marvel in general, like
Yeah,
Most of the
and that's
shit
where
that
Kate lives.
happens is in New York or
God,
San
imagine living
Francisco.
there must be ass.
For real.
Yeah. So, Kate lives there. Clint is all the way in BFE. Don't know where he lives. Just some field and somewhere. So you can kind of like it's official. Kate Bishop is the Hawkeye of the MCU right now. If you got a problem with it, don't watch it. Fuck you.
Wait, what?
I said she's the Hawkeye. If you got a problem with it, don't watch it. Fuck
Oh.
you. I personally like it. I think she's great as Hawkeye. Like I really grew to like her as a character throughout the series. Like I said, it's kind of like I enjoy the charismatic, like witty people of the MCU, like Spider-Man and like Flash. Flash is charismatic and witty and stuff like that. Like I just get a kick out of those types of people in movies and in superhero movies. She's kind of that. I enjoy it. I hope we see her and Yelena team up again because I think their banter is great.
Yeah.
And also, I think it'd be cool to see what they can do together. I also liked the scene where they're sitting in the ambulance and he's like, you know, comes a time in your life where you just meet someone who really just changes it for the better. And then he names the lady who makes them their suits, and he's like, "Man, this spandex is great."
Yeah.
Instead, like, because you're thinking he's about to be like, "You've made me a better person," like, you've done great. Yeah, yeah. He's gonna praise her, and he's like, "Yeah, no, these suits are crazy."
Yeah, that was
And
that
then
was
it cuts
great.
back to we should walk the dog.
So one thing that I wanted to say, Lady Hawk, I think that's actually her name, like when she first became like Hawkeye's sidekick,
Protege.
protege, whatever. Yeah. It's either Lady Hawk or Lady Hawkeye. I think it's just Lady Hawkeye, or I think it is Lady Hawkeye. I don't remember. But I think we're good to move on to Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, Adrian, do you
Yeah.
have any like tie-up comments or anything about Hawkeye?
No, I mean, for one, y'all really covered it. I already said what my gripe is for the series. If Kingpin really is dead, that's gonna really suck because he has a lot of potential
Yeah.
to be something more than what he was in the not MCU, in the Daredevil show.
In the Netflix season.
Other than that, no, I love it. I love it as a season. The characters for hopefully we get to see more Yelena and Kate Bishop together.
Facts.
Because honestly, I want to see more of that duo. That's literally like the best duo for me.
All right. Well, so moving on to Spider-Man No Way Home. If first we're going to do a spoiler-free review, obviously, because of, it's probably going to be the biggest movie of this year. But if you have not seen this movie, or if you haven't seen this movie and you don't want to know anything, like you haven't even watched trailers, you're trying to avoid everything, then
Why are you on social media? Period.
one, why are you on social media?
And
Two,
go watch the movie.
go
I
watch
don't
the movie.
care.
3,
Go broke watching the movie. Watch it now.
Adrian, shut up. 3,
No, I don't
move
care
on
if
to
you
the
got a
Doctor
child to
Strange
support.
segment.
Read.
Move on to the
Go watch
Doctor Strange segment. Skip this entire topic entirely. And I hope you have a great
Well,
day.
no, listen to the spoiler-free review.
No, because
at
if
least.
they don't want to hear anything, if they don't want to know anything, then don't. But
Well, that's the point of a spoiler-free review.
okay, but
No,
my
but
guy,
they're trying to hide
yeah,
from like
for
themselves.
me,
Like, they don't want to
I
learn
didn't even want to.
anything
I didn't
from the
even want to
movie.
see anybody say if the movie was like good or not. I didn't even want to watch more than the 2 trailers that I already did. I didn't want to know nothing. So if you're that kind of person that you don't want to know shit, you don't want to know what our thoughts are until after you've seen the movie, then go to the Doctor Strange. But with that being said, we're going to do the spoiler-free review. We're not going to do too in-depth. We're kind of just going to give our opinions on the movie as a whole in as little words as possible so we don't get carried away. But Brennan,
Hello.
what were your thoughts on the movie?
I really enjoyed the movie. I think it is a very well put together movie. I think bringing back some of the old villains was really good. Um, as we all saw in the trailers, they brought back Green Goblin. I think that was a good call.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed Electro in this movie. Sandman was, I would, I'll say Sandman and the Lizard are like,
Kind
eh,
of just there.
yeah.
More Sandman. The Lizard is kind of there, but understandable. I feel like he's better as a solo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other than that though, like the story was really well put together. I think it progressed the character extremely well. And if you watch this movie and you're not excited for the future, then you must not like Spider-Man or Marvel. So,
Or
like,
superhero movies in general.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, but I mean, I'm seeing even like people who like, for example, my mom called me and she was like, "Oh, have you seen the movie?" I was like, "Yeah, I really enjoyed it." I even told her I was like, even though you're not like a movie person, like she doesn't really care for movies like that. I told her I was like, I think you'd enjoy it. A lot of people have called it one of MCU's best movie, if not their best movie. Its opening weekend did, numbers. We're talking like Endgame
Oh, I
numbers. Like I
actually
think it's only
haven't.
second to Endgame. It's I'm pretty sure it's only second to Endgame numbers. So it's just if you love Spider-Man, you're gonna love the movie. Period.
I yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that. Just because like this might be one of my favorite movies. I'm not sure. It's just because of the characters that I know were just in this movie and how well put together they were just in this movie. It's just, or I'm just a superhero movie guy and I'm just loving it. It's just, it was a really done movie in general. Like, I don't, there's might be problems here and there, but in all honesty, I still love this movie for what it is.
Holy shit.
It made like 500 mil the opening weekend.
In the US it made 260 million, which is a second to only Endgame. It barely beat out Infinity War. That's insane. That's crazy. Okay.
Numbers.
For me, yeah, I agree, Adrian. I I I don't know if I'm preemptively saying this or not, but I think this might be my favorite movie. It
From the MCU or like
period.
like in what period?
So I don't know if I don't even know if I've told you, but like I'm not really like a big movie person. I don't really like very rarely will I watch a movie that's not like an anime movie or a Marvel or something in that realm kind of movie. I don't know. I'm not really like a big movie guy. Like I don't go watch movies for fun really. I don't know. I don't really watch movies. Anyways. Um but this was insane. I if you haven't seen it and you're planning on seeing it obviously, it's definitely worth the watch. Honestly, I would strongly urge you to like if you have like an AMC around you, go see it in Dolby. It is well worth the money. And that's really all that I can say without like spoiling it. Like Brennan said, some of the villains that they brought back did really well. I guess a complaint that I would have is just that Sandman and Lizard don't really do too much,
They don't
but
contribute really anything
anything,
other than their presence and like fighting.
yeah. But other than that, really, I don't really find Sandman or Lizard to be interesting characters, so I'm not really like there is a little tidbit um towards the beginning portion of the movie that involves Lizard, and I really like that whole conversation that is held with him. But like outside of that conversation, there's really not much like voice lines for him. But I do really appreciate that contribution that he did have. But yeah, that's kind of like it. It's a great movie despite its flaws. Like I said, I strongly urge you to go watch it. But that's really all that I have to say for like non spoilers.
So with that being said, you already know what we better get into.
Yeah, so we're gonna
It's time for
I'm gonna leave that
spoilers.
little pause and this whole me taking my time to say this so you can move on if you're not, gonna want to listen to the spoiler section because I respect your time and I respect your decision to not want to be spoiled for such a great movie. And
If
I
it
think
takes you
that's
this
about
long to click off the video, I don't have any respect for you
yeah.
anymore. So
If it's taking you this long, then
Go and skip us if you haven't seen the movie.
all
Do
right. Now,
yourself a favor.
honestly, dude, this fucking movie, there's
Where
like
do
I
we
said,
begin?
there are some flaws, but it's such a good movie. I like the tiny minor things wrong with it honestly don't fucking matter to me
so
compared with the
so
amount of stuff that does well.
I say we tackle this, like kind of like frame by frame or like in the order of the movie. Let's not skip around like we usually do.
Yeah.
Um, I just think it'll be a better format of us going through the movie and kind of like what we did for Hawkeye, kind of
Yeah.
like going through what we enjoyed about, the different aspects of the movie. So
It
the beginning of the
starts
movie,
right after Far From Home. Like
literally,
immediately after.
Yes.
like the scene you see at the end of Far From Home is the scene
They
you
literally
see
play the
opening up.
audio from that scene for the opening up of the movie.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, Diego, or Adrian, but there was a lot of scenes that were shot in inspiration of how Sam Raimi
Yeah.
shot
Yeah.
scenes. I don't think this was one of them, but the way they like filmed this scene, I enjoyed a lot. Just like the way they panned and zoomed in his face when he was panicking after Mysterio said his thing, like the camera work really, in my opinion, helped the expression of like anxiety and
Yeah, which I
like
mean
shock that came to him.
is what he's very
Mm-hmm.
well known for. Like, the one thing that I will give the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies is like when Peter's like in shock or anxious or whatever, it really pulls off like showing those emotions well. And the fact that he like tried to replicate that as well as he could and it did as well as he did, I can definitely like commend the director for that. But
Um,
as of the scene itself, I really like there's not much to it. It's just kind of him, grabbing MJ and then fleeing the scene for the time being. But the web swinging, this might just be like me being biased because, if you've been listening for any of these episodes that we talk about Spider-Man, Tom Holland is my favorite Spider-Man for several reasons. And now I can tack web swinging onto that list because my favorite web swinging beforehand was the Amazing Spider-Mans, but the web swinging from this whole opening sequence was so satisfying for me. From him grabbing onto the light poles or the buildings, or even when they decide to flee underground in the railroad, it was so satisfying for me.
I'm gonna disagree with you on that one.
Really?
I
I
probably will
think
too.
I think the Amazing Spider-Man had the best web swinging, the most natural and not natural, but like what you would expect to see from Spider-Man. I think while a lot of people hated Amazing Spider-Man, I think the things that they got dead on right was Spider-Man himself. I think Andrew Garfield played a great like Spider-Man character, regardless of what anyone thinks of as Peter Parker. Spider-Man wise, I think he played a great one. And I think the biggest like takeaways from those movies are the web swinging, like the way he maneuvered, the way his body just moved with the web swinging, him incorporating the way he climbed on walls and stuff, and also the combat aspect of those movies. Like the one that sticks with me is when he's fighting the lizard and he literally climbs around the lizard's body, like webbing him.
Now,
hmm
I think that's just like
I think
I
you're
have another
jumping.
thing
Well,
for
I think you're jumping
creativity of
the.
the.
I think you're jumping my statement. I'm just meaning like traversing different, like different things. I
you've mistaken me for someone who knows what traversing means.
like just traveling, just the traveling aspect of it, like combat wise and everything else. Yes, still that's still Amazing Spider-Man at the end of the day. But I mean, just like a cruising around and trying to like go across, like he like in the literally in that opening segment when he goes over that bridge and is using the light poles to go across, just the small little divots that he does was just really satisfying for me. And I don't really think that we really got to see much of that with Amazing Spider-Man, which is why I'm saying that I think I like the movement wise more.
Okay.
Because like yeah, like there's no argument. The like you said with for the first one, it like you can't beat that honestly with just the creativity.
Especially with the creativity and how he used it. I like the Amazing Spider-Man because of one of the simply things. The thing like a spider does when it has his web, he like shoot out webs in the sewers and he waits for the tingle. I really love that aspect of the Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah. It's simply because of that creativity of the webs in general.
Well, they just stuck to the true like arachnid like portion of him. Like they really focused. It seems like they really focused on like that aspect of making like everyone. This sounds weird, but like Sam Raimi did a good job of like showing the man part of Spider-Man, while the Amazing Spider-Man did a really good part of showing the takeaways he had from the actual spider bite.
Yeah.
Even though he can't. I'll say that comment later. But anyways, after that little entrance scene, we get the good old the breakup scene. That was like I was not expecting that at all.
I don't think anyone was. I mean, at least not there.
It was very weird, like forced.
It felt like something that like I almost could have went without.
Yeah, like it was funny, it's like, but I don't feel like it was necessary.
I feel like they mostly did it so that they could have the separation of like so that Happy wasn't always around. I feel like they did that because, after the break, obviously May's gonna want her space.
Yeah.
To where they're not always together. So I feel like their way of getting kind of Happy, not too involved with everything, was a breakup. It's already like enough that they end up staying at his house.
Yeah.
But now, like with the breakup and stuff, obviously he has to work on his job, which, to be honest, I don't really know what his job is at this point, but
I think he runs Stark.
Yeah, he still works at Stark with Pepper, I think.
Okay, so, he does that, and then also, he's gonna want to let her, kind of do her own thing, so he's not gonna stick around there because from the beginning of the movie, she says that was the problem, boundaries. So clearly, it was like he was probably always around her and stuff, and didn't really like let her have her own time to herself. So, I think it was just a way for them to create separation between Tom and Aunt May from Happy.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind.
After that scene, we get arguably my favorite scene in the entire movie. Well, actually, no. After that, they get taken into the police office and questioned, and then they all ask for a lawyer, basically.
Which, before we skip over that part, I do want to mention the little Nick Fury comment they make that they just kind of pass over about him. He hasn't been on Earth for several years.
Oh yeah,
that was funny because it's literally right after. It's during Far From Home. It's in the end credit scene where it's realized that the Nick Fury. The Nick Fury he was talking to was the Skrull, and then
it was Talos or something.
Yeah, and then Nick Fury's just literally just with the Skrulls too.
Yeah,
so.
But like my takeaway is the several years, because that Spider-Man movie it happened after the blip.
Yeah.
But that would to me that would infer that like he said several, which means it seems like the person who called Miss Marvel was also a Skrull. Or Captain Marvel was also a Skrull. Because to say several years, they're not counting several years as in like the blip. in my opinion, I don't think they would be, because that's like, it's like, okay, well, I wasn't on Earth for several years either, dumbass. Like,
Well,
so
what my takeaway now that I'm actually thinking about it, maybe it could be a mix of two things. It could be one, a bluff, because like they're police officers. What the fuck are they gonna know?
no, they were damage control.
Oh, it was damage
Yeah, they
control.
were damage
Yeah, it
control.
was
Okay, never
Department
mind.
of Damage Control,
Never mind.
and we know it's not a bluff because he wasn't Nick Fury in the Spider-Man movie.
Well, I'm saying like I was gonna say like you know it could be a bluff because like yeah he would probably see you know Nick Fury on the list of the ones that were snapped away, but like what the fuck does he know? For all he knows, you know Nick Fury could be on his way to there to go
Yeah,
bust out Spider-Man. But since he's damage control, yeah, you're probably right. I still think maybe he is including the blip portion just because like I don't know.
I don't see a reason why he would though.
Yeah,
At the
I was
same
gonna say
time,
like I don't really know why he would, but um, that's the only. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, it's clearly just a little nod, and I feel like it's just they're just trying to like set a little bit of hype maybe for like the secret invasion
Yeah,
that may or may not be coming.
yeah,
I mean, it seems like it's inevitable. It's got to come at some point, but I feel like it's one of those kind of like what they did in the first Spider-Man movie, how they had Miles like mentioned, but not really mentioned,
yeah,
even though there's no like talks of like Miles even in the Spider-Man MCU universe or not. You know, they kind of still mentioned it so that you kind of get hyped for it before it's even like announced.
yeah.
But anyways, continue with the next thing you were going to talk about.
So after the whole like mini interrogation scene, we get my favorite scene, arguably in the entire movie, which is if you. I forgot to mention this when we were talking about Hawkeye, but I don't even remember what I was gonna bring it up for. But we get Matthew Murdock, aka Daredevil, who was rumored to be in this movie. And honestly, I don't know about you guys, but from the moment that I saw those red fucking glasses, I somewhere in my brain knew that there's absolutely no way that this is true, but the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire rumors also would not like also would those two rumors wouldn't be true because it's just too convenient that one of them would be and the other wouldn't. You know what I mean?
The so I have
I
a way of looking at rumors. It's
I kind
there's
of
rumors
I look at
and then
them and I'm
there's
like, huh, that'd be interesting. But I never really like take
I don't
them.
really try to make myself believe him,
Yeah,
even though like it's a cool concept. But I don't want to like go in saying, "Oh, this is definitely gonna happen." This the da da da, or because like if it doesn't, then it's like, damn, I really played myself and had expectations higher than what I should have had,
exactly.
and it just
Like
leads to very
I
high
well,
disappointment.
people who do
there's
that now, if you do that and you're listening, don't take this personally. But like people who do that and they end up holding it against the movie, I don't really understand it because it's like how like I said, like I look at rumors and I'm like, huh, that'd be neat, like you said, Adrian. But if they don't end up happening, I'm like, oh well, you know, that would have been cool. Now in
there's hold on. There's two ways I look at rumors. There's the you see it, you do what you guys do, you go, oh, that'd be cool, and you kind of move on, almost to the point where you forget about it.
yeah,
Way there's the I'm gonna put like quotations around it, rumors about the two Spider-Men coming in. Now, there's a big difference for me between those rumors and then like a rumor that you see and you like those rumors just don't go away and they just like there's speculation about those types of rumors that happen until the movie come out.
yeah,
When I see those type of rumors, those are the ones that I'm just like I expect it in the movie at this point. I'm just going to be excited to see how they do it because those are the ones that to me there's so much proof that gets thrown around and the rumors become so big that I'm like like it's just like at that point obviously they're not going to give it up and like let the fans win,
yeah.
but like you know what I mean, it gets to the point where it's just like bruh,
So with these specific rumors, so I don't know if you know like what was going on with these rumors specifically. So with the Daredevil one, there was set photos that were leaked of Charlie
Mhm.
Cox with Tom Holland and the other two actors all sitting
Literally in
at that
that scene.
table. Yeah, all in that
Yeah.
scene. And then with Andrew Garfield, there was footage of him in the suit on hanging on the rafters with the blue screen behind him. And
Also in that scene.
yeah, which was in the scene at the very end of the movie. But I am too used to, I guess, like, speculation for shit that just ends up getting cut or
Mhm.
scrapped. So I looked. Now with the Andrew Garfield, I looked at it and I was like, that could be a cut scene from Amazing Spider-Man. I haven't seen Andrew Garfield in a million years, so I don't know what he looks like currently. So I just wrote, like, hand waved it away. And with the Charlie Cox scene, I still didn't really think much of it. Like, obviously, there's photo proof, but I was like, I don't know. I'm not gonna really think about it too much. So that's also why I got so excited, is just because I was like, this would be cool, but I don't really believe this. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But moving on with the scene, the reason why I think that this is one of the best scenes is just because it pretty much shows you everything you need to know about Daredevil, even if you don't know about Daredevil, without showing too much, I think. Because, it's just him being a lawyer, and then a brick gets thrown through uh the apartment window, and Daredevil, without even looking at it or anything, catches the brick. Peter's like, what
Blind,
the
by the way.
fuck was that?
I was literally
Because
about to say funny joke without looking at it, as if he could see it even if he was looking at it.
yeah, but like, like he didn't even like pay any mind to the fact that the window broke, because if something crashes behind you, whether you're blind or not, you're still going to turn to it. I mean, you've seen Daredevil do it in his show. He turns to the things that are making noises. It's just like a human reaction kind of thing. But
Yeah.
like, he didn't even acknowledge the fact that the window broke. He just caught it without, like, from basically behind him. And Peter's like, what the fuck was that? And all he says is, I'm just a really good lawyer. And I just loved when he said that so much, because it just tells you everything you need to know about this character, even if you have no idea what's going on with him. And honestly, if you're listening to this and you've seen the movie but you haven't watched Daredevil, it's on Netflix. Do yourself a favor.
The show, not the movie.
Yeah, not the movie. The show, it's 3 seasons long, but it's so good. Go watch it. It's totally worth it. And if you haven't listened to the Hawkeye section, we're assuming that it's all canon in the MCU at this point, for reasons that you'll probably find out if you decide to watch Hawkeye. But anyways, moving on. I don't really remember what happens after that.
So after that scene, that's when they decide to move over to Happy's place.
That's right.
And then we get the sight to see that Peter's going back to school for his senior year. And it's this scene it really puts you into perspective, like this whole portion of this movie is to show you why it's crucial for Spider-Man to stay anonymous.
Yeah.
He goes to school, he has some teachers believing Mysterio, he has some that believe he's a hero.
That scene where he's like, we all know what you did. We all
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
what you did. I was like, of course it's that teacher who's
Yeah. And like, the students are all like filming him. You got news reporters there, and then it kind of like, you see like they have security going through. You have to be like metal detected to get in to school and stuff like that. And then it cuts to him on the rooftop with MJ and Ned, and they start planning their future. I didn't think he'd already be a senior in this movie, to be honest. Like it seems like just like the last movie he was only like a sophomore.
Yeah.
But they start talking about the colleges they can apply to, and how no matter what, if they just all apply to the same colleges, like they'll all end up at one at least, to where they can all be together. And then after that, it kind of just goes into a little montage of Peter getting college applications, all the ones that he applied for, and obviously all of them are declined. And then they get the big one, which is MIT, and MJ, Ned, and him all open it up at the same time to find out they are not accepted, essentially just due to Peter Parker being Spider-Man and them two being heavily affiliated.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, that whole scene buildup was strictly just to give you an understanding of the consequences of everyone finding out who Spider-Man is. It really, like, reflecting on the movie, you realize, like, that's the sole purpose of that entire scene, is to show he can't move on in life with people just knowing who he is.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. Like, there's no way, because there's going to be the side that loves you, and then there's going to be the side that absolutely hate your guts.
Yeah. And obviously with like given the circumstances, obviously there's going to be more that hate you, but like
Yeah.
it's still pretty much the same thing, I think. Because, you know, say everybody finds out that he's Spider-Man in like a good way, but something happens and he doesn't exactly save everybody who is put in jeopardy, then we end up back at this stage basically where
AKA
people are
the
like,
Avengers.
yeah, you get everybody who's like, oh, you ruined the city, oh, like you let those people die, like all the stuff that the Avengers go through that we don't really get to see that much. Which also, with that being said, for the post-credit scene for Hawkeye, I think that kind of, I don't know if you like paid attention to what they were saying or anything, but I had the captions on just in case when watching that segment, and in part of the song they say something along the lines of like, we'll blame you for what you did after the fact, but for now you're saving the day. And it's like exactly that. Like, yes, they'll love you in the moment, but looking at the damage that was done, they're gonna blame you for it.
Yup.
So like, even if he was revealed to be Peter Parker in a good way, it's still eventually everybody's going to be giving him shit for being Spider-Man.
And it's hard to talk about it and make it seem like as crazy as it is, but like in the movie does a very good job of like painting
It's very
painting that out for you.
intense. Like that
And
whole
you also see that like this is the start of Peter's character development,
yeah.
and like the way that I would say most fans wanted to see, in the sense of making the decision for the greater good. He realizes like he wants to fix it, not because he wants to fix it for himself. I think Peter was like, he was chill about like people could find out, and like I'll take the consequences. He drew the line at MJ and Ned being screwed over just at the expense of knowing him or dating
Yeah.
him. That was where he was like, this ain't gonna fly. Like,
Which
this isn't okay.
I think, like, I agree. I think that's why he did it, but I feel like the movie didn't exactly do a good job of like showing that's why he's doing it, because like later after that scene actually, he goes to Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah, after the
Yeah.
donut thing, I think this was a funny way of him thinking of Doctor Strange, but the donut shop that MJ works in is still covered in Halloween
Yeah, and
decorations,
you see like a wizard, and
and
he's like, "Oh, I know
it's
a
a
wizard."
vampire. It's like a wizard vampire.
Yeah, there's a weird like witcher
And
vampire
he
shit.
just
And I was like,
stares
why
at
did
it.
he think of like Doctor Strange because of that? It's weird.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think
he
it
like
kind
stares
of
at it,
looked
and
like
you can
Doctor
see him.
Strange, but yeah,
Maybe
And
the goatee, I guess.
yeah,
it
I
was
think
the
it was the
goatee,
goatee
the
and
slick back hair,
yeah,
and the black was like just kind of scratched off on the side, kind of how Doctor Strange's was. I think it was more of just him thinking about like a wizard
yeah,
vampire, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, I know someone who knows magic," and then he's like, "Wait a minute, I know someone who can literally go through the past and the future and stuff."
yeah.
So
But like in that scene where Doctor Strange is just like, "Oh, well, you didn't even think about going to them and trying to rehash everything." Like, I feel like that one scene kind of made it look like Peter Parker was kind of being selfish in a sense, because it kind of seemed it. At least the way that I saw it, he was kind of just doing it for himself and them, not just for them.
I mean, yeah, I
I
can see why because it's kind of
disagree.
actually like pointed that out because instead of knowing that he could do what Doctor Strange told him to do, is like he should have just called him instead of like erasing everyone in the world's mind that who's Peter Parker
Yeah.
is or Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah, because like if you think about it objectively, there is a very important person in Peter's life who graduated from MIT, aka Tony Stark. He knows Pepper Potts. He probably could have just called Pepper and been like, "Hey, Iron Man's an MIT graduate. Can you call them and tell them that like this isn't fucking true?" Like
I'm
it's a really
disagree with y'all.
roundabout way of doing it, but like that's a possibility is what I'm saying. Like I
So this is how I took those scenes. So you can see that you can see visibly that both MJ and Ned were obviously disappointed.
yeah.
And Peter could see that visibly on their face, and you could tell that he started getting disappointed like for them because because he even makes a point. He's like, "This isn't fair. I'm not this," and then he's like, "It's especially not fair because you guys literally just know me. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even like a you guys did anything. It's you guys know me, and now y'all are getting screwed too."
And I think
And so they, of course, do the I wouldn't change a thing that I did, and they tear it up as if it's not a big deal.
yeah.
And so when he goes to Doctor Strange, he even pleads with Doctor Strange. He's like, at first it is like my life got flipped upside down, but then he also is like, but like people who just know me are getting screwed out of everything, and that's not right either.
And a good way to like show that is also like Flash getting in, but not them.
Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
even though Flash like sits there and wants to praise himself as if he's Spider-Man's best friend, like they can tell
Yeah, they
that like
know.
those are his people.
Yeah.
And so when he goes to Doctor Strange, like I said, he says like my life at first, but like it really hits when he's like people who are just know me like can't even get into college just simply for knowing me personally. And then the scene where he tells him like you didn't even call, I think that just helped showed how like he's still immature. He's
Yeah.
still not a full adult who's ready to just have that type of like mentality.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And so I didn't take it as mm, as much as it him being selfish, just showing that like he's trying to make the decision that he thinks is the right one to help his friends, but he's not mature enough to see the other like possibilities. He just results straight to like the quote unquote easy option.
Yeah.
Like he's still choosing the easy option of, oh, I know someone who can just erase minds, like bet,
Yeah,
and
and
just try to do that.
I think that Doctor Strange's whole purpose, aside from being sort of an antagonist, which we'll get to later on why I think that way. But he's kind of like the adult out of the two, cuz like you said, like Tom Holland's still immature or Peter's still immature. So he's not like thinking of the proper way to go about things, but like throughout the entire movie, Doctor Strange is kind of just like, this is the reality of the situation
A
that you're
tough
in.
mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's not like Tony where he like half babies it. He's just like, yo, this is life, kid. Get
Yeah.
used to it.
Which I loved Doctor Strange in this movie so much cuz he's such a prick. He's such a prick.
Um, but
Truly is.
going through that, then we get the spell that throws everything upside down. The problem of this movie, which is again, this shows. This is where I would say I agree with you in the sense it shows Peter's selfishness of still wanting to have his friends and his girlfriend basically have the perks of like the people he wants to know, but stripping away all the cons of everybody knowing. Like
So here's complaint number 1, number 2, number 1, I don't know.
Pretty sure it's 1.
Yeah, I guess in chronological order it would be 1. So part of the only issue that I have with the spell in itself is, now you're right. You know, it shows like he wants all the perks of some people knowing, but not everybody knowing.
Mm-hmm.
With the spell, after the second time that he tries doing the spell, and Peter's like, "Oh, well, you know, I want this person to know too." Me, I would have just been like, "All right, well, who else do you want to know?" Not just dive into it for a third time. Okay, we'll do this again. Dive into it for a fourth time, and then be like, "Listen, motherfucker." You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
that should
agree.
have been like a conversation before the spell even started. Like, because
Now,
if it
knowing
was a
Doctor
possibility to
Strange,
make certain people remember or let certain people, I would have been like, you have
you have
like
me, the
if
rest of
it's
the Avengers.
no, not even that. It could have been a simple. I'm gonna make sure I remember just for just in case purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like,
I'll allow you 2 to 3 more people that can remember. After that, everybody else is getting wiped. Like there's like
I
nothing
feel
I can do
like,
about it. Like it gets dangerous after that.
yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it was just
I don't
so.
think there really was a way to avoid that without
s-
having a good plot.
I mean,
Like
so
it's
there's one thing, there's one caveat. So there's a lot of people who are speculating that Doctor Strange was drinking, and that's why he didn't really. That's why, one, he got irritated so fast, and two, why he didn't really think it through before he started doing the spell. Which, if Homeboy was drunk while he was doing it, I'd understand. But like, if he was sober, I'd be like, what the fuck. But there's I saw on Twitter, I think somebody said some Twitter post said something, there was something significant about the markings on the mug, which leads to why everybody thinks, or like why some people think he was drunk. But I don't know what the fuck any of that's about. I didn't really look into it. Anyways, um that moves on to the bridge scene, right?
Well,
yeah, the
yeah,
spell
because
Essentially.
he he
destroy it or it
basically
fucks up, and
well
they go to
he
the
he shuns him for essentially not not calling first,
Yeah.
but he also like says the main problem that, like I said, it kind of paints the like his selfishness. The you're trying to live 2 lives
Yeah.
and it's just not working. Like you're like them knowing isn't the problem. You're the problem. Like you wanting all this, like you want the luxuries of both life and the, you know, not the cons of any of the lives. Like it's again pushing for his development.
Yeah.
And then it does, yeah, because he calls Flash and he's like, "Yo, where homegirl at?"
Mhm.
And he's like, "She on the bridge." No, tell him I'm your best friend. Um, but yeah, then it moves to the bridge scene, which is kind of like the catalyst for everything else in the movie. Like after this, it kind of actually picks up into like commercial wise, like watching the commercials, what the movie is and
Yeah.
stuff. Actually fighting the villains and stuff like that, and you get an explanation as to why they're. Oh, I forgot to mention. I don't know if you noticed, Diego. I think you did say you noticed the scorpion in the spell the first time. You do get a little glimpse of scorpion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the first time when the spell goes out of control
Yeah, the first
and
time I didn't notice anything, honestly. So
yeah,
that's
it shows a little like silhouette of scorpion.
interesting.
And then, obviously he closes it. But then yeah, it does move on. I didn't realize how quickly everything happened. Like I thought about it after the movie, but it moves to the bridge scene that I think everybody knows about. I
Yeah.
mean, it's in the commercial.
It's in the trailers, so like,
Yeah.
Doctor, or Doc Ock
Dr.
and
Octavius.
Green
Mhm.
Goblin pop up, but not together. So I have heard a lot of people complain about the fight scene with Doc Ock, and honestly, I don't see why people complain about it. I feel like it's a perfectly fine. Like, obviously you're not going to be able to beat Amazing, or Spider-Man 2, like the fights in that movie, because, you have to divvy up the time spent on the one villain when there's multiple. Um
I mean, I feel like it was a good fight because
Yeah.
It's still a good fight
like
regardless.
so because like obviously so this is getting a little ahead, but you learn that all of the villains are stripped away right as they're about to die.
Yeah.
I think that was speculation that went around the movie like
Oh,
beforehand.
I have my gripes with that, but you can go ahead.
So most of the villains were stripped away from like brink of death,
Mm-hmm.
meaning Doc Ock has already fought Spider-Man multiple times. Sam Raimi's version.
Yeah.
So he kind of has like knowledge of what a Spider-Man may or may not do in a fight, while Tom Holland has no clue what Doc Ock is capable of because he's never like that's not a person in his universe.
Yeah.
So I thought the fight kind of reflected that well. Like Doc Ock was kind of handing a can of ass whoop ass, whatever the saying
Whoop-ass.
is. He was kind of handing out an L like the entire fight until the end. Like, Tom Holland wasn't like just taking it. Like obviously he was holding his own, but realistically at the end of the day, Doc Ock is the only one who like kind of landed actual hits.
Yeah.
And I think that just showed like, he was a veteran in that fight, in that scene. He was the veteran, not Spider-Man. Even though Doc Ock is technically the quote unquote new character to the movie, he was the veteran. He had been there before. He had done that before.
Yeah.
And I think the choreograph of the fight showed that well. Because even Tom Holland in the Iron Spider suit
Wasn't really much of a
wasn't,
match.
yeah, because he didn't have that type of experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and plus, like I was saying, 2 weeks whenever I don't really remember.
At some point.
At some point when in one of the episodes that we talk about Spider-Man, fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Was it when we were power scaling him?
Yeah, he's not really like as strong as the other two, I think.
I kind of disagree on that, but that's just me. I kind of say he's stronger because maybe he has. It's just he has one feat that's a little bit better than the rest of them, while Toby holds the train and the freight and say it's Mary Jane. I feel like Tom Holland holding the yacht together, regardless of how long he did it,
It's
was
still
a better feat.
yeah.
Yeah, he holds a yacht full of not only people, but there's still cars there too. So it kind of it should be a better feat than the one than Toby stopping the train, and Andrew just doesn't have the feats that both of them had,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Technically, Tom didn't. Oh, well,
He did.
yeah,
He did.
but he used
He
his
didn't
web
hold
on a
it
lot of
too
part
much.
too.
Yeah, but
Like as in,
still,
like he
you
had
still
web
have
still
holding
to.
it together.
You still have to like pull the weight together because yes, those things
Reg-
helped, but it didn't.
It's not like he just didn't do anything. He was still like taking the brunt of the splitting yacht and holding it. He wasn't holding it for long either. It was going to like
fall apart if Iron
fall
Man didn't
apart
show up.
soon. Yeah, but him holding it enough for that long, it's time, I guess, is still a good feat in my
Yeah.
opinion.
You're right. I just that wasn't what I was going to say, but that was the one thing that I could think of to say because I genuinely do not remember what I was going to say. Yeah. So
That was.
after
I was gonna say my one gripe maybe would be that Doc Ock never got any real villain time.
yeah,
Because like after that he gets the nano taken over and then he's locked up and then he's basically just held at his will by his own arms because the nano thing is taken over until he gets the new chip put in his head.
yeah,
Pretty much.
So
I don't know. I
I know it would have been a problem if they let him run free with everyone else
Yeah, 'cause
because
he
at that
is
point it was just Tom Holland and that would have been a problem.
like
But
he is a very good like fighting villain because
yeah.
but
So
Yeah, he's
I
very strong.
understand why. I just like I wish there was a little more villainy.
I'm sure that we're probably going to see a Doc Ock in the future, and that's maybe why they were like, let's not give him too much villain time because we're already planning on having another Doc Ock.
I hope not.
Why?
I'd rather see the other villains. Like, I've seen Doc Ock now. I'd prefer to see villains we haven't seen.
Doc Ock.
I don't know.
I can't even say Doc Ock is not really a villain. He's mostly turned to villain because of the arms. After that, just nothing.
Yeah.
So I sometimes don't look at Doc Ock as the true villain.
The only
himself.
well, like I don't know, because like you kind of have to have a sciencey villain for the Sinister Six, because it's either Doc Ock or Green Goblin.
Yeah.
So, and I don't
We
think
know it ain't Green Goblin.
I was gonna say, and I don't think that you can do Green Goblin again because of how good Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin is.
hmm
So, like, out of the two of them, I feel like the only one that you could do again and not cause a huge fucking like outrage is Doc Ock. But moving forward, you know, he kind of restrains Doc Ock, and then Green Goblin shows up, and I think at that point Doctor Strange whips them away or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of takes him away.
And you know, Doc Ock ends up in the little containment thing, and
You get an explanation of the movie and why it's happening.
yeah, you get an exclamation. You literally they
Especially
literally
with the lizard
lay out
coming
the
in, too.
plot of the entire movie basically right in that scene.
Oh.
There is something I wanted to say. It's about Lizard. When he it's so when Doctor Strange shows up, you see him a little bloody.
Oh yeah,
Which
and it's because he
which
bought
is like
or-
implied that the lizard harmed him in such a way, which I find kind of strange, but like maybe like a strength feat for the lizard. Maybe the lizard snuck him once, and then
That's the only thing that I
Doctor
can
Strange
think
just
of.
stop.
Is he probably got snuck up on.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's kind of like he has to have gotten snuck on. Otherwise, the lizard's just fucking stronger than a lot of people give him credit for.
Yeah, well, also keep in mind he did, because he even said he fought him in the sewers. Like, he went to the sewers, so he was also in like what would be considered
Out of his
lizards like
zone,
His domain,
territory.
yeah.
So it would be dark. You know, if any water was around, you know, lizard moves very well in the water too. So like I could see him, like, especially since Strange had no clue what he was like. He just knew it was an otherworld entity. He didn't know who or what it was. So I could see Lizard kind of surprising him in the beginning, but once Strange kind of was like, we're done with this." Then at that point, it's just like, all right, whatever. Because I think he was like, I would say he was trying to test, like, okay, what is this? Like, what the hell's going on? Kind of confused. And then once he like kind of got a grasp, locked him up, and then that's when he went and found Peter.
Yeah. And then after that,
He talks to Peter, basically gives Peter a rundown of why people are there, and basically told Peter it's his fault.
yeah.
He tells Peter, fix your shit, like, you fix it, go capture them all. Peter is obviously like, well, I can't do this without MJ and Ned. He gets MJ and Ned in there. One part I enjoyed was the Ned is like, well, I'm in the sanctum I can't believe I'm in the sanctum, yada yada yada.
And Doctor Strange is like,
yeah, I
I can't believe
can't
you are
either.
there.
I can't either.
And then he's like, how did you know you were magic or made of magic? I thought that was funny. How did you know you were made of magic? And like, obviously, since we've all watched it, he's pretty much a pretty new wizard,
Yeah.
like sorcerer. So it's just kind of like funny that Ned assumes that he was essentially born like that, and that couldn't be like further from the truth.
Oh, we completely skipped on one little detail. Wong is now the fucking sorcerer supreme, which I thought was hilarious because
Oh yeah.
they're
I
like,
thought
well,
they
since
both
I was
got
gone for
visit
5
or
years.
blip. I
No,
always thought that for
Wong
some
wasn't.
reason.
Wong wasn't. I think they
No,
showed us that
Strange
Wong
was supposed
wasn't.
to be.
Yeah, but for some reason I always thought he himself or Wong was Blip too, but
Yeah, but
now I know
I
for
think
sure.
they showed us that he wasn't. I don't remember how, but
I don't.
No, because he took care of all of the sorcerer stuff
yeah.
while Doctor Strange was gone.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
don't know. That was just something I just thought of before watching the movie.
but yeah, he gets MJ and Ned in there. Ned's like, my fingers get tingly sometimes.
He says she's a
um,
psychiatrist.
and then this was another little thing that I took, reflecting back on the movie. MJ and Ned obviously aren't mad that Peter tried to cause a whole ass spell that would completely like erase everyone. They were both very understanding, but MJ looks at him and says, "Hey, next time like consult us and maybe we can whip up a plan or something."
Yeah.
And you know, as you see later on in the movie, that is not what happens the next time.
No.
But
Mhm.
after that, they move on to Electro and Sandman. This is where like again like Electro just shines, bro. Like Electro really had Green Goblin not been in this movie,
Oh, Electro would have been the
Electro would
MVP
have.
for the villains.
Yeah, Electro was very. Jamie Foxx does a very good job. And Electro was just really well written. I'm really happy they got a character redesign, and I
Yeah.
think it was cool the way they went about doing that.
They also showed his like previous design just a little bit for like the
Yeah,
introduction, which I thought was a pretty good nod. I also do see I'm kind of disappointed in what ended up happening with Sandman because Sandman's introduction, I was like, this is cool. Like we get like a kind of heroic form of Sandman, but then, after Spider-Man just whips him away with his web, the Sandman
completely
yeah,
untrustworthy
Sandman
Yeah.
completely does a 180 on the dude. So,
for really no reason.
I mean,
And
I can
like,
understand it because he's kind of like, that guy just disappeared. Did he just kill him? What the fuck's going on?
well, no, yeah, but like fast forward, like even when they all escape,
Yeah, I didn't understand
Sandman
why.
really just kind like he
He's
watches
not
him
really a
fix Doc
trustworthy
Ock.
person.
He
He
kind of,
watches him fix Doc Ock and then just still 180s on him like out of nowhere.
yeah,
That was
because
the
like
part
he
that I was
saw that
confused
Max
about.
didn't actually die, and and like you said, he sees him fix Doc Ock. So I don't really understand why he chose to be a villain. And the Spider-Man that he trusts shows up and he tries to kill him. I didn't really understand that.
Yeah,
I didn't understand that part. I just always say that he's just a very untrustworthy person.
that's not
Now,
good
to
enough for
go
me.
that far, I saw like that's the only explanation I got. I'm not saying that's like the reason he did all that. It's just
Well,
that's just what I can
the
come up with.
reason I can say I disagree because like I said, like the only reason why he went against Peter is because he thought that he killed Max. And once that was shown not to be true, you would think, "Oh, this guy was telling the truth. He didn't actually kill him." But moving on, the Doctor Strange fight, cuz
Well,
Doctor Strange is like, "Okay, well you got most of them. Let's just send them away." And
we skipped past a really
We
crucial
skipped past
part.
Green Goblin.
oh
Yeah.
shit, my bad.
Well,
My bad.
his like crisis with the part of him, the double
Oh, we skipped over something else
personality.
that I was kind of upset about.
What happened?
What
That
else do we
black
skip?
and gold suit was not a
Oh,
new suit.
it was just an
It was
inside
just
out
a
suit.
stripped down. Yeah, it was just
Yeah,
basically like a stripped down suit.
it still looks dope though. I don't know.
It looked
It
cool,
looked
but I was like,
cool,
dang,
but
I
yeah,
wanted more.
yeah.
I was expecting more.
Well, and I feel like we kind of got baited with that pop because remember the pop had like a circle in the middle that like
Yeah.
that we didn't see whatsoever.
Well, I mean, there's also a pop of him in the blue, a red and blue with the gauntlet on it. There's a pop of that too, and that's never in the movie.
Um,
So,
no,
I
I
mean,
mean it was for like 0.5 seconds, but
no,
yeah,
not
because
with the sorcerer thing.
he had it on his wrist after Aunt May cleaned the
That was a
suit.
black and red suit.
Oh, you're right. Okay, never
Yeah.
mind. Ignore me.
So it was a little weird, but yeah. So basically after that, after the bridge scene actually is the first time you see Willem Dafoe in the goblin suit, and it's when he's back as Norman.
Yeah,
I just want to say Green Goblin in this movie is phenomenal.
Oh
He
my
is
god, yeah.
like
Amazing.
he is Heath Ledger of the Batman series and the Spider-Man series. Like
Yeah.
he
Mm-hmm.
is like there's just no beating like, and I don't mean this as a Green Goblin. I mean they're like, to me, for probably a good while we won't see a villain that's that good. he just embodies the like maniacal, just absolute freaking menace
See,
of being a villain.
I think the only character who really
Mhm.
like stands up to him is Thanos, and like even then, like
At least in the MCU, yeah.
yeah,
Some people say Killmonger too, but I don't really.
Killmonger,
Mm.
yes, but no.
Killmonger's a
Yeah.
great villain, but for other reasons.
Yeah, for different reasons.
Mhm.
Willem Dafoe is just an absolute menace, bro. Like just a terrible human being. Like
He's like the epitome of evil
like,
for being
yeah,
evil.
like I said, he is the Joker of the Spider-Man universe. Like he is literally just like he's like all I know is I want to ruin Spider-Man's life. Like, but anyways, we're getting a little far ahead. But after you see him, he breaks the mask. But
Which I
after
love
that,
that mask. I wish we saw
um,
more of it, low key.
Nah, I am so glad that mask got destroyed.
I love that the way they introduced Green Goblin was through Feast, which Feast is a organization that Aunt May created and runs,
To feed
and
homeless
she
people.
basically they feed homeless people, and I think they also shelter them.
Yeah.
And it stands for something. I think it's an acronym because I think it
It
is.
is. I don't
Yeah,
remember
I
what it
don't
stands for.
remember what it stands for, but it's an acronym. But also, it is a big portion of Miles Morales' story.
Yeah.
Because like if you've played the PS4 game, I'm sure you've seen Aunt May passes away in the game, uh and then Miles' mom kind of like takes control of it, and Miles like helps her like in whatever way he
It
can.
stands for Food, Emergency Aid, Shelter, and Training.
There you go. So basically they help homeless people get back on their feet. But yeah, and like basically it's a big like thing for Miles Morales' story as well, which when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, this is the second time Miles is kind of not brought up, but like things
Alluded
about
to.
Miles
Nodded at.
are hinted at it within Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because the first one is in the very first Spider-Man movie where his uncle mentions him, not by name, but everyone kind of understood what it was supposed to be. But Norman goes to Feast because he sees Spider-Man is up there and he was hoping to get help. And Aunt May sees that like homie is not okay, not in the mind, and you know, basically is plants the seed in Peter's head that like you got to make sure you make these people okay before sending them home. Fast forward to then he has them all locked up. Strange shows up, and then we get into the Strange fight because Strange wants to kill him and just send him back
Well,
home,
he doesn't want to kill him per se. He
He
just
just wants
wants
her to
to
go
send
back
them
to their
back
fate.
because he just wants to be done with it.
which is essentially sending them back to their death. So
Yeah, but he
basically
doesn't.
saying, yeah, if they die, they die. I don't really care.
Yeah,
I
because
guess that's a better way of saying
that's
it.
back to the like this is the reality of the situation kind of thing. Because he's like, to be fair, like I kind of agreed with Strange. Like it's an unavoidable situation. Like you're just prolonging the inevitable.
Yeah, definitely the reason they did this was again, it was more of, like the reason of the whole like let's not listen to Strange was just to develop Peter
Yeah.
as a character. Like that's obviously it's a Spider-Man movie,
Well,
so they're focusing on developing him.
and it shows the contrast between those two characters very well because like, Spider-Man's whole thing is he doesn't kill. And that's very evident where Strange on the other hand, he does kill and doesn't really shy away from killing if it's necessary.
Yeah, like, and again, it all stems from Aunt May's little like telling Peter like we help people.
Yeah.
It's like you know
And
we don't
reminding him of
just
why he
leave
had those
people
powers
be.
in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So once again, a little more like pushing Peter into the development for the ending of the story.
Yeah.
That mirror dimension fight scene.
So good.
First of all, before they even get into the mirror dimension, is a great moment. See, the astral projection scene is funny. Like just
Really.
just straight up, what is this? Why do I feel like
And
And
you
then
get to
his
see
body
his
just takes
spider
over it.
senses.
his spider? Yeah, like I was just about to say, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but while his body is like dodging Doctor Strange's hands, if you look around his head, he had like little waves going off on his head, just like in the cartoons that they would do to kind of signify his spider senses.
Oh, I
Um,
never knew that. I
yeah,
always
I
thought it
know.
was like his conscious was like, well, not conscious, his body, his willpower in his body is like strong as hell. So he's just able to do that. I never
No,
thought
it
it
was
was
his
like
spider
spider
sense.
senses.
Yeah, it was the spider
Yeah,
sense.
no. And like I said, if you look at his astral projection, like Peter, there's little like
Waves.
distortion waves going around his head to kind of signify like his spider senses are going off. So his body is just naturally react, because at that point Peter considers Strange a threat,
Yeah.
and going for the box is a threat. So that's why his body's having that reaction. And then when he goes back in it and you see him kind of web himself by accident because of Strange's things, the mirror dimension is definitely where that scene shines. Like that's just
That whole
Mm.
segment made me nut. Especially when the two mirror dimensions crashed into each other, making an even more abstract fucking dimension.
Dude, that was just so clean.
It was
Like,
so clean, dude. And plus, I'm like,
And
how the
then-
fuck did you get the Grand Canyon to merge with New York? I'm like,
it was just so wild looking on everything, like
it was.
in the grand
Plus,
aspect.
I think it's so crazy that like we're at the point now where like a scene like that is just we're just like, yeah,
Almost normal.
This is also a really good opportunity for them to show how smart Peter is.
Yeah.
Since that's not like portrayed, like it's portrayed, but not like it's not focused on like the other ones were.
Yeah.
He
Which
starts looking at it. And he's like, "Oh, this is just geometry. I can do geometry."
and like, fast forwarding a little bit, it kind of like this entire movie kind of shows you that Peter is really smart, which like you said we don't get to see in the previous two movies that much.
I mean, in my opinion, we do.
I'm saying
But-
not as much as we did in this movie because he gets to create the serums for the characters and everything in a future scene.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think that just in every movie, there's always like the one little montage moment where it shows him doing something that is like definitely like genius level type of shit.
Yeah, but I think that this was
Um,
all like 100% on his own because I don't remember what Homecomings was, but I know that like
Homecoming, you see he developed his own webbing fluid, he
that's right.
developed his suit, and then also the all the tracking stuff, like he has Ned's help, but that's just like him and Ned just figuring stuff out, hacking into the suit.
Yeah, and then Far From Home, him creating the whole suit.
Well, I think the second movie focused a lot on his like Spidey sense. I don't know why, but they put a really heavy like reference on the Peter Tingle.
Yeah.
At least in the last two movies, yeah. Or
Um,
the last movie is just more of him developing it. This one is more of just him using it more often.
Yeah.
Yeah, him really trusting it. It's just basically it was moving him more and more into an independent lifestyle,
Yeah.
like depending more on himself, his senses and stuff. But yeah, after the Strange fight, basically helps the villains. MJ and Ned go to their respective place. At this point, you're just watching Spider-Man,
Help.
and
the
then
villains.
yeah, like cure them. He cures Dr. Octopus. I love Aunt May in the freshwater or saltwater,
Yeah, that was
because you're an octopus.
that was funny. That was such a
It's
dad
so
joke.
goofy.
Such a dad joke.
But that's another scene where you really get to see like even Green Goblin, like Norman Osborn, is like watching Peter go and is like really shocked at what he's doing.
I'm something of a scientist myself.
Like
I love it.
I don't know, it was cool to watch. Like you could slowly see like everyone starting to trust Peter.
Yeah.
In the sense of the villains, like even though Electro was very still hesitant and standoffish, you could tell he was like willing to let Peter at least try to help him.
Yeah.
And then Green Goblin, being the menace he is, says,
Dude.
"Yeah, we gonna stop all that right now, right here." I was telling Adrian, one thing I absolutely love is that even in both movie theaters, everyone seemed to pick up on the voice change cues that they would do for the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
And like when he said, "Be whole again," and he'd said it in like the Green Goblin tone, everyone, like, I think everyone at that point got the same idea of like, ah, shit, here we go.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like, he's
um,
changed.
and then he starts getting the spider sense, which this was one of the like the way they film it. I like it because they make everything around him kind of like blurred,
Yeah.
and they almost have it to where it's like a GoPro strapped to him and just zoomed in on his face, and he starts walking around like all confused, like something's wrong, but I don't know exactly who it is or what. Like I can't tell which one of you are about to do some stupid shit,
Now,
which I like that a lot.
I really actually thinking about it objectively, maybe that's where Sandman kind of just like lost it because as far as Sandman can tell, like yes, Green Goblin flipped, but he doesn't really know that for at least for the time being that like, Peter decides to web up Green Goblin. So maybe that's
Yeah, but
why.
then he gets a whole explanation of Green Goblin, and you can clearly see that that is not the same Green Goblin that was just here 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So I like Sandman is just a really weird
Yeah.
like situation. Like you kind of don't understand his motive. Like the only motive they give you is I want to go home and see my daughter, but like that doesn't line up with the actions he does
No.
because he helps the villains and Electro's like, "Sorry, but none of us are going home." Like
Yeah.
and it's like yeah, all right.
Now, moving on, that whole fight scene between him and Green Goblin was so fucking good. It was
So that
so good.
now
Such a good
that
fight scene.
is where they took Raimi influence. That the beginning of the fight scene of him throwing them through windows and the darker tones and stuff, that was very like Raimi Spider-Man esque.
Yeah.
The CGI, the slow motion, the ability to tell when a blow was like a harder blow as opposed to like just a regular punch. And to be honest, just the brutalness of that fight
Yeah,
scene.
that
Like
fight
that
was
is
so
that is
brutal.
It
probably
was
the
just so
most
raw looking
brutal
at that.
that Tom Holland has had.
Yes.
Just absolute like
I mean,
and it is
arguably
because
Mysterio, the initial fight with Mysterio was really brutal. I mean, getting hit by
I
a
just say it's
train
brutal, like
is
mentally a little
fucked.
bit.
no, that's not what I mean by brutal. That hurts. That's a heavy hit. This is brutal in the sense of like
Like
malicious
fisticuffs.
intent.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like Goblin is wailing on this kid, and he's sitting there. He got on Goblin's shoulder and is just absolutely going to town, punching him in the face. And Goblin looks at him and just laughs,
Yeah.
Bro,
like
when I saw that scene, I'm like, bro, this
like
man is fuck.
menace,
Menace.
absolute
Shit. And then he just
menace.
ground slams him through several floors
Yeah,
of an
like 3
apartment
floors, I think.
building. I'm like,
Um,
fucking hell, this man's
yeah,
not getting a break.
crazy. Like that's I would say that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. That
Yeah.
like just that whole fight scene and just that's where, Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin really shines is the playing the mental game, really like getting you like where it hurts and just absolutely like tearing you to shreds, not just physically but mentally.
Yeah.
Just like brilliant performance from Willem Dafoe and just brilliant writing for having that scene play out the way it does. Because honestly, like Sandman basically dips, Electro dips, even Doc Ock, even though he's a good guy now, like he's
Yeah, he
fixed.
still
They
dips.
ripped out the chain. He dips. The Lizard, who up until this point has basically been irrelevant, is still irrelevant. He breaks out of a car, comes back, throws Peter through a window, and then dips.
Yeah.
He kind of
And
just helped Green Goblin. He said, hey, let me help you with this combo real
yeah,
quick.
and so
Let's
it's
tag team
really
this
just a
bitch.
focus. It's just a focus of Green Goblin. Now, this does play off later because in the ending fight scene, you don't get Green Goblin until the end,
Yeah.
while this one is all Green Goblin and not the others. And just like the tone of it, even like I would say the tone of that fight scene is completely different from the entire movie. Like the way that fight scene goes about, and obviously rightfully so, like that part of the movie is an absolute like like dreadful part of the movie, in the sense like for Peter, but like Peter gets his ass whooped, bro. Like that is like
This is the
he was
biggest
hurt
ass
with
whooping he's
Vulture,
took.
he was hurt with Mysterio, but this one was like, because like I said, mentally, like homie was just messing with him. Like bruh. Well, how would you feel if you punch someone in the face like 5 times and they looked at you and laughed like that
Nah,
Yeah.
in your
I'll
face?
run. I'll run
Yeah, at that point,
away.
I'm like, bro, you got it, bro. Honestly, I'll punch myself in the face for you, bro. I'm out of here.
I'm like, nah, man, you just taking my punches and smiling at me menacingly. Nah, bro.
Yeah.
Someone else
And
can handle you, bro.
so they finally fall to the lobby where Aunt May has ran down. Honestly, yo, shout out to Aunt May's cardio, cause god dang, she ran down so many flights of stairs, bro. At least like
That fight
10.
or flight. When you
Yeah,
got two
like
heroes fighting or trying to
um,
kill you or some shit.
and as she's like in the lobby, Spider-Man and Green Goblin break through the floor and they land. And
She
Peter's
put up a
just
fight, bro.
like Peter is done. Like Peter's hurt. He's like I like honestly, the movie could have ended right there. Like Goblin could have just whacked him right there and the movie would have been, roll the credits. Um
Cue Andrew Garfield.
and yeah, and so Aunt May runs up with like a serum that was supposed to work but didn't work because Norman probably like or Goblin probably tampered with like a part of it so that it wouldn't work, and he whacks May.
Yeah.
That part I was like, it's funny because I don't think I was telling Adrian this.
Dude, I
I
thought
don't think I
okay.
talked to you about it, but I was telling my coworkers, I was like, bruh, Happy or May has to die in this movie. I was like, I genuinely think one of them is gonna die. I was like, I
I
don't know exactly
think
which one.
off of
I
the
thought it was gonna
trailers,
be
everybody
Happy.
thought that it was gonna be Happy.
Yeah. So I was like, I threw May in there too because I was like, something's got to happen, and glad to see I was right.
Yeah.
I think this death took a lot of people by surprise.
It
did took
surprised
me.
me, but I wasn't exactly sad. Like
I definitely almost cried the first time I watched it. Not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
I did
it was
too.
more shock value for me than like sadness because I was just like, oh shit, she's dying.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's
because she
funny
like
because
stand up too, like right after she got hit. Yo, I thought she was gonna get impaled by it
Yeah.
and
me
be
too.
stuck
Yeah.
on a
I
wall.
thought we were gonna
If
get a
they
good old
showed that,
Spider-Man
that would have
scene.
been the most brutal Spider-Man
Yeah,
scene
good
for
old
Tom Holland.
Spider-Man scene.
And
bro.
I would have been like, dog, that is traumatizing. He needs a
Yeah.
hug.
I-
Oh my god.
Bruh, I was really confused when she first stood up. I was like, so you just gonna get whacked like that and just walk away? There's no way in hell. I was like, you ain't Spider-Man. You ain't Spider-Woman. You ain't no Spider.
I think
You
that
should
was
be
all
dead.
adrenaline, to be honest.
Yeah, it
Oh,
really
it
was.
100% was. It's just I was confused at first, and then when she kind of slowed down and like,
Fell over.
began the actual death, which that scene hits, and her good old Uncle Ben speech, but it does raise the question like what happened to Ben. However, I do think that's something that Uncle Ben has told Peter before and they have heard before, because when she says it and Peter goes, I know, as if like he's heard it before.
Yeah.
So I feel like Uncle Ben said it, it wasn't the same
Resonating with
type
him.
of, yeah, it wasn't the same type of way as
Her.
May, because I think Ben might have died, but not in the way like how they did with Andrew Garfield and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was more of like a natural type of death,
Maybe.
and then and like it was just something that Uncle Ben would always say. But when she said it there while she was like really messed up and like a bunch of bad stuff had just happened because they were trying to help people, it kind of hit him more because, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But that scene was really like, I was like, dang, bro, this is intense. Cause like even just hearing Green Goblin, like he does that, and the whole time before that, he's like screwing with Peter's head, just telling him like, look at that, you tried to help people and it screwed you over. That's your problem. Like you just constantly try to help people, and all it does is bite you in the ass. Like, and
He was
and then
just
just
beating him in while he just was on the
yeah,
ground.
and like hearing him laugh as he throws the bombs, blowing up everything else after he just whacked Aunt May, like I said, bro, just absolute menace. Like there's no beating Green Goblin's villain. Not in this movie, and to be honest, it's gonna take a lot to beat him as a villain, period.
Yeah.
Menace wise, in the sense of just being a straight menace. I don't know. I really appreciated that scene. Like to me, if I'm being honest, I feel like that scene hit a lot harder than either of the other two Uncle Ben scenes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I don't care. Uncle Ben scenes should not hit as hard as that one. That hit
That
the
one,
hardest.
and I think the reason it hits the hardest is because you realize Peter doesn't have anyone beside MJ and Ned. Like Uncle Ben dies and Peter still
Has Aunt
has like
May.
friends, but he also has Aunt May. In this one, so Aunt May dies, but like Tony Stark also dies, which is that was already like a big hit for Peter. Not Uncle Ben level big hit, but like a big hit. And then Aunt May dies, and it's like, I mean, yeah, I guess you have Happy, like I guess, but it's just not, Happy has always been kind of cold to Peter in a sense.
Yeah.
So I don't think Happy and Peter's relationship is like necessarily as good as you would want it to think it is, like closeness wise. So that's why I'm like, I think that one hits harder because that's like not by choice. He is almost like dead alone.
Yeah.
And then after that, you get another, good old James Jonah Jameson. We haven't mentioned him at all in this
'Cause
podcast
he's a
yet,
fucking
talking about the
asshole.
entire movie.
I can't
He is kind of
stand him.
he is kind of like frustrating the entire movie.
Yeah,
But
because after that scene, isn't he like, yeah, because after that scene, he's like saying how it's his fault that like this person died, and I'm just like, listen, motherfucker. I'm like, you don't even.
yeah, that's the problem. He don't know, literally.
Yeah, like.
But he's listening to James saying like nothing but death follows Spider-Man around. And obviously Peter's like already not mentally okay.
Yeah, and
Bro,
that's the last
he is the
thing
biggest
needed
hater
to hear.
ever. That man was hating even if his aunt died. I'm like, dog, you are a sick
He does.
man.
Oh, I guess he would know.
Yeah, because he would know
he
that
would.
May is related to him.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm like, dude, you are sick. That's insane. You literally are the biggest Spider-Man hater of all time.
Nah.
You might even beat Green Goblin at this case.
And it's raining, of course, because all sad times always happen in the rain in movies.
At least in Spider-Man movies.
Yeah. So it's pouring, and you just see a good pan of like you can tell Peter's like crying, but also like mad.
Yeah.
The typical emotions you would assume. Yeah, the typical emotions you would assume would be going through someone's head. And then we get the big scene. This is the scene that annoyingly everyone claps at and da 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 and woo, yeah, woo. Sorry, I'm not one of those people. Sometimes I hate it because, for example, I'm pretty sure I missed like a line or two both times that I went to the movies.
Listen here. All right, bitch.
After the entrances were made because people want to clap and cheer, and it's like, can you shut up so I can hear what they're saying?
Look, I was the loudest one there for your second viewing, so shut the fuck up, all right?
I kind of
yeah,
sometimes.
Just
because
it's the first 2 weeks of the movie. It's kind of you gotta kind of expect it at this point.
Oh, trust me, I'm going for a third watch. I don't care.
You better bring me with you, bitch.
Nope.
Nope.
I'll let you know. But we see MJ and Ned, they're talking. They're obviously feeling very sad for Peter because they know that they're all he has now.
Yeah.
And
Ned has Doctor Strange's sling ring.
Yeah, and he when he's talking, casually throws his hands in a circle and create like sparks.
He's like, I just want to see Peter. And
then he does it
in a most like unnatural way, throws his hands around, but it makes sense for the movie, and eventually figures out that, foreshadowed from the beginning of the movie, he is magical.
Yeah.
And has magical tendencies, and he opens up a portal to Peter Parker.
Not
and
the Peter
first
that we know,
entrance-
or at least
Yeah,
we think
they know.
Yeah. So
obviously as a
let
viewer,
me let me let me steal the let me steal this for a second. Personally, I completely forgot that. Well, not completely forgot because I know that Green Goblin broke the mask, but I genuinely thought that he like made another one, and that for whatever reason Ned opened up a portal to Green Goblin. So like when like he turns around and all you see is like the eyes reflecting, my heart sunk because I'm like, oh god, now Ned and and MJ are fucked. And then the closer and closer that he gets, you kind of see like the reds and blues, and uh, honestly, not until he finally takes off the mask, I didn't even fucking believe that it was actually going to be Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, like
I
whatsoever.
immediately recognized it. The
No,
second I
once
saw
the
that one, I was
Spider-Man
like,
came,
"Ooh,
I was like, Andrew Garfield. It's Andrew
yeah."
Garfield. Once he took off the mask, I was fucking, oh, I was
Yeah,
excited,
bro.
bro.
Um,
Yes, sir.
and I'm gonna be honest, bro. Andrew Garfield stole the show for me.
Oh, dude.
He
Yeah,
Yes, 100%.
everybody that
absolutely
I've talked
killed
to
it.
about it at work or like in general, everybody agrees that like Andrew
Yeah,
Garfield stole the fucking show.
he's a great Spider-Man. His movies weren't necessarily always written the greatest, but he just
You
like,
give the man a good script and he will.
well,
He can do it.
you can feel that he cares about the character of Spider-Man more than Tom and Toby do. Like
Well, because he
the
he
emotion.
was in Tom's shoes. He didn't want to stop being Spider-Man, but he had to because
No,
Sony
yeah,
was like, "Yeah, no,
but
this isn't working."
like he genuinely grew up on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like he
I
genuinely like
think Andrew's the
cared
biggest
about.
Spider-Man fan out of like the three of them. Like I know Tom
Yeah,
Holland's a big
so
Spider-Man fan too, but like, Andrew kind of like nerded out on this shit.
Andrew hit different.
Yeah.
Andrew hit different. And but
And
I
plus, he did all
love.
the things out of his role too, going to charities as Spider-Man, playing basketball in his
Yeah, and
like I think in New York
it
too.
wasn't even like his contract or anything. He just did it.
He did it because he was that much of a fan. He didn't care that much of playing Spider-Man.
Yeah, like I don't know, but Andrew, literally every scene that Andrew is part of is great.
He
Like I
just
love the entrance, and he's like quantum realm, the cool, like da da da, like naming off all the just words I can't repeat because I'm not smart. Um, and he's like, it's all real, like as in like he had already been looking into it, and then Zendaya's obviously like not
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 sold.
100% trusting. She throws a piece of bread.
She throws several pieces of bread.
She's like, "Do you have the tingle?"
It's like,
Dude,
why
He's
are you
like,
spraying the bread?
Ned's
yeah. He's like,
grandma, like the synergy between him and Ned's grandma, I don't know what it was, but I was like, that is the most like random character to have so much synergy with because it was just such a funny
the
scene.
I just love the. Do you have the tingle? Yes, I have the tingle, just not for bread. And then the like she doesn't believe, and he just jumps and like hangs to the ceiling, and
He's like,
he's like,
She's like,
crawl.
crawl
"There,
around.
you happy?" Yeah. She's like, "That's not enough." He's like, "This is enough." She's like, "No, that's not enough." He's like, "This is enough."
It's
And the grandma's like, "Can you go get the cobweb?"
like, yeah, sure.
Um, and then they finally believe him. Of course. I mean, I would have just been like, "Hey, he got the suit, bro. He good.
Yeah,
He checks out in my."
yeah,
The
for
suit, he
real.
can crawl or he can hang on the
If he
wall.
hangs
Um,
on the
I think
wall
you're
and he
right.
got the suit, that's good enough for me, bro.
and then of course MJ's like, "We'll do it again until we find the right one." So that right there is already telling you like, there's another one that isn't supposed to be here because you know that line literally tells you until we find the right one,
Yeah.
inferring that there's probably more before we find the right one. The next one opens up and it's a shadow-faced figure in normal clothing, and in
And
comes Toby Maguire
now
and more
Oh,
cheers.
I mean, there wasn't as
more,
many
more clap.
cheers. There was like everybody
Surprisingly,
lost their
Yeah.
shit for Andrew, and then with Toby, it was like,
I
oh
think it's
hey.
because he wasn't in his Spidey suit. I think if he was in, like, if you would have actually seen, like, him
Well,
in
when
the
I
suit
first
and him
saw
take
it, I
his
feel like
mask
there was more
off.
claps for Toby than Andrew.
Really?
Nah, I think both times for me, Andrew had the bigger applaud.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's a testament to not everybody really cares for Toby's, but
No, I think everyone
Well,
loves Toby the most.
Nah,
I think, like I said, I think it was more of like Toby had such a weird casual entrance as opposed to
because it's the
Andrew's.
awkward Spider-Man that I can't fucking stand. And don't get me wrong, he's great in this movie, but like God, never mind.
Well, it's also that he wasn't there. They made it clear that like Andrew was genuinely confused and was like kind of wanting and trying to get back home.
Yeah,
Toby, the second he got there, he knew Tom needed help.
yeah,
His was more of a like I think Toby looked more of it like his character looked more of a there's a reason I'm here and I can feel that I need to be somewhere and I need to be helping someone.
yeah,
So I think that's why like he had more of a quiet, calm entrance because he was like processing, but also like I need to find your friend because I need to talk. Like I need to help him.
yeah,
The little standoff between him and Andrew was great too. The little flippy flip.
yeah.
Ooh, that was such a cool like scrap that they had. Like,
Yeah.
Which, like, you know how like people have theories that if you ever met like an alternate version of yourself, you would like instinctively fight each other. Which that like kind of plays off of that. I feel like whether it meant to or not, because the first thing that they did when they locked eyes was shoot webs at one another.
I just like I'm just confused at what it was because it wasn't. It's like they were testing each other.
Yeah. So it like that's what I mean. Like it was
no,
either
it's not like not only that they didn't like trust each other because they like knew that wasn't the Peter Parker they were looking for. So they saw each other like you're not the one, or he's not your friend, or stuff like that. So like you're someone else, and they just had to like instinct to just fight each
yeah,
other right then and
exactly,
there.
exactly.
Yeah, it is weird situation, but um, that's where you see MJ kind of tells them like we're all Peter has. He does need your help. Telling Toby like, yeah, he definitely needs y'all. Like, please,
Yeah.
Hmm.
we're desperate. um, and I think this was also a cool thing where he's like, is there anywhere he would go that's like personal to him that like he just can always like go to and clear his head type of thing? And Toby mentions his, which is the Chrysler Building, and Andrew's like, oh, mine's the Empire State Building, which in the movie you often see him
On the Empire
on the
State.
Empire State Building, like just chilling.
And then he's like, "It's got
And
a
being
better
like,
view."
yeah.
It's gotta be.
And Toby's like, you right. He's like, my movie didn't have the budget to animate it, but you right.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that's always cool because it's like it's showing the similarities between each Spider-Man. Like even though they're all very different from each other, they have similar tendencies.
Yeah.
As they should. And then basically fast forward, you get the scene where, Tom Holland meets up with all them. And at first he's very untrustworthy and he's like, y'all need to go home and deal with your own problems. Like I'm giving them back to you. I don't want
See, and
them.
I thought it was funny that he was like, neither of you would understand, and both of these motherfuckers are like looked at each other and they're like, "Yeah, we do," but like,
The
we,
most cliche, but they're not gonna rub it in his
yeah,
face that
we're
they.
like, we're just gonna let him go through it, and then we'll talk to him whenever the time's ready.
Yeah. And then you get the breakdown of each of their stories. And the one line that made me need to see more of Andrew Garfield was the I got bitter. I stopped pulling my punches, and I
Yeah,
was like, I need to see
Dude,
you.
that was
I need
dude.
to
so
see you kill
emotional, and I'm
someone
just
with
like,
it.
bro, I want to see that so bad, man.
That is literally
Honestly,
like,
that like
Because in the
him
second movie,
talking
you don't
about
see him
it.
get bitter. He kind of just gets like, oh, a pep talk from oh man. And I don't want to say it all gets better, but he gets himself back into it,
Yeah,
and it plays off the after the fact that he did that, and it's like, dude, I want to see that. Like, what happened then?
yeah, and
Like,
like it kind of made me a little bit emotional just because of like how good of a fucking actor he is. Cause like I like it just felt really it like hit me different. I think when Andrew was just like, and I got bitter and I stopped pulling my punches, like you said, like it kind of hit harder than I think any
intended.
yeah. Cause that
It's just
Cause
like
like seeing
the amount
such
of
a
emotion.
cheery person, go through that kind of thing kind of like hurts. Cause like how Peter Parker's supposed to be, and hearing him do the exact opposite of what he kind of stands for, I think, is like that's like damn.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's also just the way he like gives the lines, like the amount of emotion, like you could tell that it was still fresh for him
Yeah.
because Toby mentions Uncle Ben, but it's like it's been far past.
Yeah.
This was right after Electro, though. This was right after Spider-Man 2, so you can tell that like it was very recent. Now, this is an interesting thing I want to give you guys, like thinking back. Maybe the ending of Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 isn't after or isn't yeah, maybe it's after
Well,
No Way Home. It might be like
No,
he might have that after but think, Adrian, because this was supposed to be
no, it
right
just
before
can't
Electro was
be.
supposed to die.
well,
No, okay. So the problem with that is that he literally admits it after. No, during the movie, he
Oh
fought
yeah, he
yeah,
Rhino.
fought
he fought
the Rhino.
Rhino.
So yeah, that's it. That's another thing too.
Well, either way, he just delivers it with great emotion, bro.
Yeah.
Like like either he's just definitely not over it or like it's like for the most part pretty
Yeah,
fresh
I think it's
because
fresh.
after they get their little feelings out and shit, gotta go cure some ass. So they create all the cures. It's funny because I don't know if you guys got the same vibe, but like they kind of made Andrew like an outcast the entire movie
Yeah.
almost. Like he's different from the other two.
hmm
Like, they go to the lab, they start building like cures, and Tom's like, I think I can get this one fixing again, and or I can get these two working again, and then Toby's like, oh, I can do, Green Goblin's cure, like I've been thinking about it for a while, and Andrew's like, oh, I can do this one, I've done it once, it's no big deal, and they just kind of look at him like,
Cool, dude.
yeah, and he's like, what? I said no big deal, like it's true, I've done it once, I'll do it again, like it's not that big of a deal,
Yeah.
and
And then fast forward,
but
like, they're talk like comparing their feats, and Andrew Garfield's like, "Oh, I'm lame as fuck compared to you guys."
No,
well,
he doesn't do that till on the
That's what I'm
tower
saying.
or on
yeah.
That's what I said.
the
Fast
skyscraper.
forward to the
Uh,
tower.
Well, I mean, I wanted to bring up the Ned scene
Oh, that
because
yeah.
I think that holds. Oh shit! I think that holds some significance. Where he asks
right.
Toby, he's like, "So, do you have a best friend?" And he's like, "I did. He died in my arms
I
after he tried to
think
kill me."
I think the reason why that happened is because Ned is assuming that he is the one who is Peter's best friend. I think he probably should have been like,
Yeah.
"What was their name?" And then he would have
I
been
think
like
it's what's
Harry Osborn, and he would have been like, "Oh, okay, I'm good."
that. But I love that scene because then he goes up to Peter very
Yeah,
like
ear like
typically,
wearily, and he's just like he just presses the computer and runs away.
and then later on he's like, "I promise I'll never kill you."
I promise I'll never try to
um,
kill you.
And then, of course, the shocking finding out that Toby makes his webs inside of his body.
That was funny.
That was a good scene. He was like, "What's that?" He's like, "Oh, it's a web shooter. Like, made it. It helps me swing." And he's like, "Huh?" He's like, "What? You don't have one?" And he's like, and they're like,
What the
"What the
fuck?
hell?" Um, that's always great. I love that they like went over that.
Yeah,
Like that was like because obviously everyone's like, oh, they shouldn't have like there should be web slingers or no, they should be able to do it themselves or whatever.
yeah.
But then like you said, fast forward, you know, they start going over like different feats and Tom uh Tom asked them, "Oh, what's like the craziest bad guy you fought?" And obviously he's met most of them, but Toby's like, "Oh, I fought an alien." And then oh shit, Toby's like, "I fought an alien," and Tom's like, "Oh, me too. In Earth and on space. He was purple." And Toby's like, or not Toby, and Andrew's just like, damn, I suck.
Yeah, he's like the craziest
fought a
guy I
crazy
fought
one. I
was
was
a
like, I fought a
Russian dude in a
rhino.
rhino suit.
And like I love the banter between all of them. Like it's so fun. The back cracking scene was
Yeah,
great.
the backcracking scene
There's
was
such
so
good chemistry between all three of them.
I
Mhm.
think the chemistry was only good because Andrew made it good, to be honest. Cause like
Andrew filled a lot of the like awkward
yeah,
gaps. I feel like,
cause
and he created a lot of
cause Tom
the
was the unsure teenager trying to figure out like if he fits in or not, and Andrew is and Toby's Toby, and Andrew's the most charismatic one out of the three of them. So I feel like it was not exactly hard for him to steal every single scene, but it doesn't take away from the fact that he stole every single scene because he was just great.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course they call him amazing for the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, when Toby was
Nice
like,
little
"You're
nod.
amazing," I looked at Javen and I
You're
was like, "He's
amazing.
amazing." Get it?
He's-
The amazing Spider-Man.
I honestly I thought that he was gonna turn around and tell Tom, "You're spectacular." I was like, "Please say it."
and then of course they have more banter of the web. Like, do you make it in your body? And he's like, are you making fun of me? And he's like, no. We're just, we can't do it. So naturally
We're
we're
curious.
curious. He's like, well, I don't
Does
know.
it go out of anywhere
Breathing.
else? And I feel like they reference that from the first movie too.
Yeah, that's like it was just great that they acknowledged, like everything.
Yeah.
And then obviously the big fight then begins, and they seem good at first, and then slowly you start to realize like their teamwork ability is trash. I mean, Andrew freaking runs into Tom's web, and then while he's falling, he webs Toby's face by accident.
Yeah, I was like,
And
I at first I was like, this is going a little too well, given that Spider-Man doesn't really do team ups that often, at least with people that have his abilities. And like I heard a
quite
few
literally, they never
people,
met another one.
I heard a few people who were complaining. They were like, "Oh, well, why were they all so bad at working together like initially?" And I'm like, "Listen." I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
They never work as a team before.
That's what I'm
At
saying.
least
Is like,
more
yeah,
than
sure.
half of them
Andrew
haven't.
Garfield worked with Hobgoblin before for a little bit, and Tom Holland's was on the Avengers, but they never worked with somebody who's had the same skill set as them. So obviously they're gonna be a little fumbly at first.
And they literally acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Quite literally acknowledge the fact that they suck at working as a team.
Yeah.
And Tom Holland's like,
See,
I don't want to brag, but I'm going to.
see, and I didn't really, I like it. Kind of bothered me that they were like Peter 1, Peter 2, and Peter 3. I was like, why don't one of you be Peter, one of you be Ben, and one of you be Parker? Like you have a first, middle, and last. So I guess
That's not as
I
fun.
don't know. The Peter 1 and Peter 2. I'm like, that's too long. If you're in what is it called? A dire situation, you're not gonna be like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah.
I don't think they're gonna like.
I mean, they did it.
Names like
I guess I don't know. I just feel like
Peter,
Ben, or Parker would be so much more efficient.
I loved when Tom was like, "I'm Peter 1, you're Peter 2," and you look at Andrew and he's like,
"I'm Peter 3."
But like, and then after that, you just get beautiful scenes.
Yeah.
Just them web swinging around together, bro. When they webbed Tom Holland's hands and he spun and just threw them to continue their momentum.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was so clean.
Such a perfect scene. And then everyone noticed the landings when they all landed in their like respective like poses.
Yeah.
I don't think as many people notice that if you look at when they release, Toby's in his like iconic release, and Andrew is in his. I don't think Tom really has one.
No.
But they were definitely like Andrew is in the one where his legs are like obviously bent and his arms are kind of out.
Yeah.
I forgot what Toby's is, but even when it came to dismounting off the swing, they were like in their respective like what they're known for mostly.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really cool tidbit because everyone pointed out the posing, but I was like, no one pointed out the fact that they all dismounted from their webs in their respective poses, like all of them in 3 different iconic poses. That I thought was absolutely sick. I thought that was I literally was more hyped about them dismounting from their webs than when they landed.
Nah, the landing. I just loved the fact that all 3 of them had their different like poses. It was so good.
They just kind of was their own thing.
Yeah.
We also forgot when Tom said I was part of the Avengers, and Toby's like, "Cool.
What is that?
What is that?"
Is it a
And then
band?
Andrew's
Are
like,
you
"Is
in a
that a band?"
Yeah, Andrew's like, were you in a band?
It's
It's
also
just
like
like
disprove all the theories
the
people had. Like, oh, they had their own Avengers.
the only thing I wish they would have done it with their mask on. I would have loved to see more of them in their mask, but obviously they wanted to get more like facial screen time.
Well, not only that, but I feel like if you're just a casual moviegoer who hasn't seen, the previous 2, you wouldn't really know who's who. Because I know at first, even for me, and I know what all 3 of them look like, it was kind of hard to track which ones were which.
It is hard to track them because it's dark and it's
And
so.
yes, they all have distinct costumes, but not distinct enough.
I don't know.
To tell
Maybe I
from
just pay
afar in the
attention.
dark is kind of.
I think I might just pay more attention to that type of stuff to where it doesn't bother me as much. Just because I love the suit design aspect of everything. Like that's another one of my favorite things about Spider-Man. It's just like all the different suits and stuff.
Trust me,
So that
for
might just
Spider-Man suits are that's my like Spider-Man and Iron Man. The different suits are like my go-to, but
yeah,
it's
but I
still
mean, I don't
really
know.
hard.
Like I said, it might be one of those things where like I just pay extra attention to it,
Yeah,
like it naturally. But, obviously they go into the big fight after that and everything starts going smoothly. I don't know. I think I told you this, Diego, or no, I was telling Adrian. I don't know. You might have heard me and you might have caught on. All of Sandman's scenes after he gets cured
Mhm.
are all scenes that are from Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. There's a lot of theories and speculation that like it's just all stuff that was ripped from the
It is.
okay.
Listen, I remember the scenes vividly because
Yeah,
the
like
the
the
scene
one
of
when
him
he's
getting
sitting
his
in the
powers
Statue of
stripped.
Liberty. Yeah.
Yeah, he was by a window
Yeah.
in the original movie, in the original scene, but the one where he got his powers stripped, that was basically when he got his powers originally, but
Yeah.
reversed. So it's like, I don't know. They probably just couldn't get him on filming time.
Probably not.
So, and then maybe just got him to voice over like, the parts they needed him to.
Yeah.
The actor's not dead, right? I'm not being disrespectful. He's not.
No,
He
I
didn't
don't.
pass
No,
away,
No.
he's
did he?
not.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. And then, yeah, they start curing everyone, and then the Menace shows up. I mean, there's other stuff that happens. I don't know if you guys want to go over it. I feel like we've been talking for a while, and to me, it's not like crazy stuff. Like everyone gets cured.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange acknowledges that Ned actually opened a portal.
Yeah. And he was like taken away from that. He was like, "Wait, what? You did what?"
He was like, "Did you just open a portal?" And Ned was like, "Yes, sir." And he's like, "Huh," and
Nice.
just walks
Yeah.
away. But basically, then Green Goblin shows up, the freaking MVP. Lots of shit. Oh, the touching reunion between Toby and Doc Ock.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know if you
that's
guys
such a good
caught on.
moment.
I don't know if you caught on, but when he lands and he rips his mask off, and he's like, "Peter, you look great. Like, how are you?" And he goes,
You
"What do you
got
say?
up. You
What
grew
does
up.
he say?" No, he's Peter replies with like, um, working on doing better or something like that. What is it? Trying to do better, I think he
Yeah.
says. It's that is a callback to in the second movie of Toby's Spider-Man. When he gets switched into Dr. Octavius's class, he's like, "Peter, I hear you're late often or whatever," and he replies with trying to do better
Yeah.
or trying to be better, whatever it is. I thought that was pretty cool. And then, Doc is the one who saves them from Electro. Electro also, we didn't mention, gets Tony Stark's arc reactor. That's why he's so powerful in this movie.
Yeah.
But after that, it's really just, Green Goblin steals the freaking show. He destroys the box with the spell in it, sends MJ fall into her death.
And
And
Andrew saves
Andrew,
her.
Andrew, the MVP,
Dude.
shows up and grabs her.
said, "Let me get my redemption."
Well, not
real
only
quick."
that, but like you could see that like fucked him up catching her, because he was like
Mhm.
I wish I could have done this for Gwen, and like he like took
Yeah.
a moment to compose himself after catching her.
And MJ asks, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like,
I'm
my
like, my
heart,
poor boy.
it hurt.
And then Tom and Green Goblin have another just brutal fight of straight like heavy blows.
And you can notice Tom is not pulling his punches this time.
Yeah.
Tom is pissed, and he's like, he literally tells Green Goblin that he wants to kill him with his own hands. Like it's intense. Dude, Tom jumped freaking like 8 feet in the air to come down and punch a whole dent in that bronze shield, bruh. That I was like, damn. I was like,
Yeah,
man, use
that's when
gravity
he
and his own
realized
strength.
he's not pulling punches anymore. That's what, like,
Um,
he wants them dead. And
and
then it gets to the point where Green Goblin's on his knees, and Thomas is wailing him left, right, over and over. And then you see the other characters that are watching, like, pan over, like,
Yeah, they're like,
Peter, and they're like, damn, he's gonna kill this man. And then you see him grab the fucking glider that Green Goblin uses, and he's about to impale him. And that's when you see Toby stops him right then and there, and he's like, bro, calm down.
he don't even
Please.
say nothing. He just gives him
He
the
don't-
look. He knows.
Oh yeah, he doesn't say anything. He just gives him a look. Oh
And then he
my
gets
god.
stabbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets stabbed.
When he was
Nice.
standing there for as long as he was, I was like, he is gonna get stabbed. I was like, there's absolutely no way that he's not gonna get stabbed.
Yeah, I
Unpopular
thought that too,
opinion,
and I
I
thought
wish
that
he
he was
would have
gonna
died.
die.
I agree. Actually, I feel
I
like
don't.
it would have been a better.
Wrap up to his character.
Yeah.
You know, then Peter stabs Green Goblin with the serum in a very, very, very violent way, arguably violent enough to kill him.
Yeah.
And Norman, you know, kind of comes to his senses. He's like, "What did I do?" And then the entire world is breaking apart, and Toby's like, "Is that happening, or am I just dying?" And they're like, "No, it's happening." And Tom goes to talk to Doctor Strange, like, "Can't you cast another spell? Like, is there something we can do?" And this is what I was talking about earlier, how that conversation with MJ about coming together to make a decision doesn't really happen, because Peter, this is where you see the full on, like, full come circle of Peter developing into the Spider-Man everyone knows and love, of making the hard decision and doing what's right for the greater good. Ends up having Doctor Strange just do a spell that makes everyone completely forget Peter Parker exists as a whole. So not just that he's Spider-Man, but as a whole, because we didn't mention this. We kind of, like, since we didn't want to go too in depth with that scene as a whole, it brought everyone into the universe that knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And arguably, to be honest, it might have just pulled everyone. No, I think it is just who knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man. Or was it who knew Peter Parker?
I have no idea. I don't even remember.
I think everyone who knows Peter Parker.
Because if it's who knows Peter Parker, that would make sense in the case of Electro.
Yeah.
If not,
I'm gonna
who knows?
on
Whatever.
the second watch, I'm gonna pay attention, and if I remember, I'll bring it up in the in a future episode.
Yeah. And but you know, he then goes, says bye to the Spider-Man, gives him a big old hug. And
The
then
brothers.
yes. And then goes and says bye to MJ and Ned. And makes them the promise that he will find them and he'll make them remember. And then Doctor Strange casts the spell, and everyone forgets who the hell Peter Parker is. And so
Do we
then,
want to mention who was in the portals that were coming out? Because we saw Rhino, we saw
oh
Craven,
yeah,
we saw
um,
Scorpion,
Ri-
I believe.
Rhino, Craven, Scorpion.
I think I
I
saw
heard there
Black
was also a
Cat.
Mysterio,
Yeah.
Black Cat. Mysterio was also actually in the bunch. But like the main ones that you should have definitely 100% noticed was Craven,
Rhino.
Rhino, Black Cat, and Scorpion. Those were like the ones that they really like put in your
Outlined.
face. after that, like I said, he said his goodbyes. He made them the promise, and then he kind of dips, and then it kind of skips over to Peter's life now, like after a couple days after, and he's walking to the donut shop, and he's practicing how he's gonna introduce himself to MJ, and he walks in. He thinks she recognizes him. She waves at him. She's standing next to this old dude. I think it looked like Hank Pym. They didn't really pay attention to the old dude. I think the dude might end up being someone important at some point.
Mhm.
I don't
I
think
don't
it was
know though.
anyone important. I think it's
Um,
just some random.
but this is another scene that kind of shows you Peter's development
Yeah.
as a character throughout the whole movie, because the whole time you can tell that there's some flirtatious kind of vibes going on around there, just because he knows the right things to say
Yeah.
to like kind of intrigue her. And as a person, naturally, she's of course like she's already fallen for him once, so of course she naturally will fall for him again if given the correct time.
Yeah.
um but she pulls her hair back and he sees the cut on her head, and he realizes, like, if I open this up to her again, then these same situations could happen again.
Yeah.
And so he slips the note back in his pocket. Instead of telling her and fulfilling the promise he made to them, he decides to hold it back so that he can protect them. I don't think it's going to last long personally. I think so.
I
I
don't
saw
personally see it lasting on either. I
so
think she might get herself in danger.
See,
I
so
s-
I think one of two things are gonna happen. A, what you guys are saying, or B, maybe the next movie might be focusing on like Mr. Negative and Black Cat as a side character, and then that like little fling will happen, and then he'll go back to MJ. But
I saw a very interesting theory that I think is actually a very plausible one, and it's saying that if you notice, she's still wearing the necklace that
he bought her.
Peter gave her
Yeah.
in the second movie. And then if you notice, when he goes to Aunt May's grave, Happy says that he knew Aunt May through Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So that means that, like, there's a possibility that the parts of Peter where Peter plays like a pivotal role in like someone's memory,
It's just replaced by
there's
Spider-Man.
it's either Spider-Man, or it's like kind of like a little bit of a gap to
Mhm.
where they don't really have like a good memory of it. And so they theorize that, like, so she's not in love with Peter, but she's in love with Spider-Man now, because the things that Peter did for her are now reversed. So like now somehow Spider-Man got that necklace for her.
Uh-huh.
And like, oh, Spider-Man saved her a couple times, so now she's falling for Spider-Man, so naturally she's going to be looking into Spider-Man and trying to figure all that shit out, and eventually it'll come to Peter Parker, to where she's still in love with Peter Parker, just she doesn't realize it's Peter Parker. To her, it's just Spider-Man.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's actually a pretty good and cool theory that I think is like, it's plausible,
I still
because she
think
was
I see
wearing
that
the
as possible.
necklace.
I still think given the headspace that Peter is in at this point in time, I think that there could be like space for, like I said, Black Cat to be introduced, and for that whole relationship to go through its arc, I guess it would be described, and then he would realize, oh, you know, I really enjoy being with Felicia, but it's just because I don't want to put MJ at risk, but I'm still in love with MJ, kind of thing.
Hmm.
Because that's pretty much what the whole Black Cat and Spider-Man relationship is. It's just Peter is with her because he knows that she, can handle herself, and he just doesn't need to worry about her. And he doesn't really care for her the same way that he cares about either MJ or Gwen, whoever.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah. So, and then I think Ned is going to become the Hobgoblin.
Oh yeah.
People pointed out that he wore that jacket the entire movie, which the colors are yellow and blue, which are Hobgoblin colors.
Mhm.
And then like it wouldn't make sense in the magical thing. Like I don't know where the magical aspect would tie into, or if they're ever gonna like kind of take that again.
As far
But
as
then
I know,
also
that's like
he
an
hovers down with the cape,
yeah.
like kind of hinting like, look, he's hovering. He's in the blue and the yellow. And then also just like I said, that best friend scene, kind of like he's like, I promise I'll never turn on you and I'll never try to kill you. Well, now it wouldn't be him turning on him and him trying to kill him. It would be more of like he never knew.
Yeah,
Or maybe he finds out Peter didn't keep his promise
and
and
he's
he gets kind of
mad.
pissed
Yeah.
off. I don't see that really going for Ned's character, but it's something they could use. To me, it like I feel like Ned would be pretty understanding of like Peter didn't want to put me in harm's way, so
Yeah,
he
but
didn't keep that
I
promise.
think if
But
anything, because like going towards the final few minutes of the movie that we completely didn't talk about, he moves into an apartment on his own and he makes himself a new suit, and
that's beautiful.
it's
The perfect
I
suit,
didn't get to
literally
see
perfection.
I didn't really get
So
to
such a
see all
shiny
of it, but
blue.
it looks so fucking nice.
What do you mean you didn't get to see all of it?
Like I didn't get to see like what he actually looks like. Like I was paying attention to the background during that whole singing sequence because I was like, is something else happening? What's going on? So
Singing? Oh,
yeah,
you said singing. You meant swinging, right?
swinging.
Okay.
Yeah, he said singing like it's
Well,
Yeah, I was
the
like, we ain't
Avengers
on
suit.
Hawkeye. What you talking about?
well, cause I don't know if you guys noticed, but that tree that's in Hawkeye, he swung by. So I
Oh,
was
that
like,
whole area that he swung by was the ending Hawkeye.
yeah, it was the Hawkeye
Hmm.
like area.
Yeah.
Um,
If you notice in the beginning of the movie when he's swinging away with MJ, they swing past two signs that
by the
say Rogers the
Rogers.
Musical.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I think that he might it might just this whole next like trilogy might just be him just doing him and staying away from them, and maybe like
Just little guest appearances, kind of, for
yeah,
them too.
or and then like after a while something may happen in Ned's life that like changes him,
Hmm.
and then he like
Dark Sorcerer Supreme turns him evil.
something like that, or and then like he figures it out, and instead of being understanding like we would assume Ned would be, he gets mad,
Hmm.
and boom, Hobgoblin. He's not trying to kill Peter, but you know, he's just one of those kind of villains that's just like, what the fuck.
Yeah, kind of wants like a sense of revenge.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, that suit. Oh, I can't get enough of that suit, bro.
I can't wait to
You can find
see.
I
you
am
can find
oof.
images on Twitter of it and stuff if you want like good like views of it. But it's literally like probably in my opinion the best suit we've ever seen. It's a little bright. I will say it's a little
Yeah,
bright, but
The bright blue still like looks good to me.
it's
Like
so
yeah.
good though. Yeah,
And yeah, this is like, and then you know, I'm gonna be honest. There's rumors already, and like these are getting to the type of rumors, as in Andrew and Toby showing up in the movie type of rumors, like heavy rumors. Andrew will be reprising the role of Spider-Man for Sony, possibly in Amazing Spider-Man 3.
I hope so.
I think I've heard reports of them already for sure want to get Toby and Andrew in another movie together, like as soon as possible. Some people are thinking Venom 3 could be like Andrew Garfield versus Venom. So from the looks of it,
Oh,
it
the
looks like we
post-credit
will be
scene. We
seeing.
didn't even fucking talk about that yet.
Oh yeah,
So, Venom was number 6, if you want to, count him, I guess. And really the whole
I don't even want to count him. He didn't do much.
yeah, like I said, I
he didn't
kind
do
of
anything.
count Doctor Strange as the number 6, even though like
I was gonna say it's a Furious 5 at this point.
but
Sinister
literally,
Six.
if you saw the end credit scene for Venom, he gets transported into the MCU, and we find out that it's literally just to snag the symbiote, not even fucking
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. And Javen, when you listen to this, so this I did some research because Jay said that he thinks it's a plot hole that Venom was brought over, even though in the Sonyverse There, as far as we know, there is no Spider-Man. I did some research and I found out that actually throughout the multiverse, every single symbiote is like knows.
Link.
Yeah, like knows. Like
They're like a hive mind.
yeah, they're basically a hive mind. Like Venom knows what every single Venom knows. Carnage knows what every single Carnage knows. And so on and so forth. So that
Toby's.
so Tom
Venom.
Hardy may not know that Peter is Spider-Man, but Venom knows that Peter is Spider-Man.
Yeah. The only other thing that confused me about that scene is like, why did that one piece not get transported too? I know it wasn't connected to the whole body, but it was supposed to get rid of everything that wasn't like from that universe.
Look, bro.
But that one little piece got to stay. I know it's like they obviously
it's just to steal Venom. It's literally just to steal Venom.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I'm just saying there's like
I wonder if that ever gonna get
that's
explained.
what I thought of.
Honestly, even if it doesn't get explained, I don't care because
Oh yeah, facts. Just keep Venom.
Yeah, just keep Venom.
For real.
See, now if with that same thing, if Morbius is actually good, I'm gonna be upset because that means that he's
Might
not
just be
going
an
to be.
anti-hero.
No, but I'm saying like if Morbius is good, I'm gonna be upset that Morbius isn't in the MCU.
Oh, he's saying like a good movie.
Yeah. Like if the Morbius movie is
okay,
good
okay,
and Jared
okay.
Leto's a good Morbius, I'm gonna be
I
upset.
thought you meant like a good guy.
No, I'm saying like if it's a good movie. But so there's that one post-credit scene, and the second post-credit scene leads into the final topic, which like at least for this section, with no spoilers for Spider-Man, so you're safe. So tiny spoiler, I guess. The final post-credit scene for No Way Home is the Doctor Strange trailer. And so we get a teaser for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And honestly, the trailer looks fantastic. We get a little bit of a look at Elizabeth Olsen, and we get a little bit of a look at Shuma Gorath. And there was speculation that not only would Shuma Gorath be the villain, but also Supreme Strange. I talked about that in like the little breakdown video of this movie when Shuma Gorath got announced. But we finally got the reveal that also Supreme Strange is 1000% in this movie, and I'm fucking hype because
I can't believe they showed that already.
So am I. I
am surprised too.
There might be I don't know, cuz like I'm like you showed both of the villains like already in the teaser. So I'm thinking maybe there's another villain that just isn't really being shown. Cause like the only thing that I can think of is maybe Shuma Gorath is like that kind of like what's it called? Like a Civil War type villain. You know what I mean? Like they're in the
like
middle
he's
of the
influencing
conflict.
things.
I meant like not I meant like Crossbones kind of villain. Like when the movie is starting,
side
he's
villain?
already dealing with that villain.
Oh, okay.
Which like I'm not gonna get into it again, but like it would be kind of weird given the character that Shuma Gorath is. But if he's just swatted to the side and dealt with for the time being, it would be kind of weird. But maybe I don't know. He could be like his Baron Zemo kind of character, but it's kind of weird that they would show what everybody at least thinks as of right now is the main villain and a side villain. Is that just me? Am I the only one who thinks that's weird?
I mean, I just feel like that's two big characters that you can't just do. Like, neither of them you can give little screen time. They both are going to require a decent amount of screen time.
Yeah, well, like,
I mean,
given
with
how both of them are
Supreme
kind of
or-
intertwined together, it makes sense, I guess.
Well, if this is Supreme Strange from the What Ifs, then there might be like not as much screen time for him, depending on his role in the movie.
Oh shit. You just reminded me about the What If thing. So there's
Yeah.
rumors that apparently Peggy Carter, Captain Britain, the super soldier one,
Yes.
is supposed to be in the movie as well. And if you like watch through some of the scenes that it throws at you, you see a girl, a redheaded girl, walking around with a jacket on and a star on her back.
Yes. I see. Okay, I see. I know which one you're talking
All
about.
I'm saying is
Which
I said this a while ago. It seems like they're using what if to just throw a bunch of different universal people at us to get us like kind of understanding of their character so that they can then introduce them like in the MCU at some point or
so
something.
there's two possibilities. This could be America Chavez, which I don't remember what other movie she's supposed to, or I think she is supposed to be in this movie. So it could be her, or it could just be
No, it is. It
Haley
is.
Steinfeld.
What's her face?
Haley Steinfeld, Hawk Girl? Hawkeye?
Oh fuck, what's her name? Haley Atwell. Is that her name?
I don't know, bro.
The Peggy
No, but
Carter.
I think it is.
Peggy Carter.
Fuck her face.
Okay.
God damn it. The one you just said.
America Chavez.
Yes, that's I'm
She
pretty
looked
sure
really
that is her
grown.
she's
I
playing.
thought the chick playing America Chavez was like 13. It doesn't
no
matter.
idea.
It doesn't fucking matter.
It shows America Chavez in the trailer, but not in the part Diego's talking about. It shows her when they're standing at the doorway and she's standing behind Strange at some point.
I need to rewatch this trailer. We'll talk about it again in the future. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But
Maybe once a full trailer comes out.
yeah, when the full trailer comes out, we'll talk about it.
It looks very interesting.
It looks so good. So good.
Oh, and Sam Raimi is actually directing it.
Yeah.
So we could see Toby.
And what's his name? The guy from the first movie. Not the villain, but the side character.
Oh, the black dude.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
Yeah, that guy.
I don't remember his name. It's been a while
He got long
since I
hair
saw
now.
the Strange movie.
He's supposed to also be another. Yeah, so
I don't know if he's a villain or like
he's
kind of like a I don't want to help
in
you,
the
but
comics,
it's looking
he's
like
a
I might have
villain.
to help you.
Yeah. So like that's potentially 3 fucking villains, and we've already seen all 3 of them, which is crazy.
I do also want to say they apparently are. I don't know how true this is. This is a post I saw. They're apparently adding in more like cameos for Doctor Strange due to the positive reception this Spider-Man movie got.
Yeah, because I heard that
that's
apparently
why Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, could possibly make another appearance in Doctor Strange.
Well, it was confirmed that the Japanese Spider-Man is supposed to be making a cameo in this.
Really?
Yeah, like confirmed.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So but yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you guys have anything else you want to say?
Nah.
I think
Doctor
we
Strange
touched up
kinda
on
cool.
everything we could have done.
All right. Well, yeah. So
I'm sure there'll be more we'll talk about later. This is becoming a very long podcast though. So
it is a very long
so
one.
let's just wrap it up.
With that being said, we're gonna wrap up today's podcast.
I think this is 4 hours.
this is going to be a very long one. We definitely broke down a lot of the movie. We probably should have just talked about parts and jumped around instead of going in order for Spider-Man.
I think,
but it is what it is.
I think it's fine.
You know, we talked about the parts of the movie we want to talk about, and stuff like that. It was fun. We talked about Jump Festa, which there was quite a bit to talk about. That we honestly could have talked a lot more about that if we wanted to.
Yeah, but we wanted to save time for the movie.
For Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure
you know,
the Spider-Man section's longer than the rest of the podcast. So
yeah, we probably could have talked about Hawkeye a little longer, but we knew Spider-Man was gonna just eat up a lot of time.
Tank one. Gonna be a tanky.
But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed listening. You know, once again, we've appreciated the support we've been getting. We thoroughly enjoy making these podcasts. We're always waiting to be able to actually talk about the things we're seeing and stuff. But with that being said, as always, Diego just finally broke 490 subs.
80. I wish I was
480 subs.
80 subs.
And it'd be nice to get him to 500 before the end of this year.
Oh, I would love to hit that, but I don't know about all that.
Adrian still sucks at streaming, so we just ain't gonna mention him.
All right, fuck you.
No, don't join Adrian's stream. He don't even stream. Adrian, what
Fuck
stream they
you.
supposed to join? Last time you streamed was because I told you should stream.
I streamed last week. Listen, man,
Bro,
I
exactly
haven't had
because I
time.
told you to.
Me. You are literally worse than me.
Listen, bro, I haven't had time to myself.
That's
listen.
Cap.
Fucking
Anyways,
that's cap.
Anyways, I guess you can follow Adrian's stream. But do his last. Follow his stream last. Follow Diego's YouTube, his stream, and sub to Javen's YouTube before you do anything with Adrian until Adrian gets his shit together.
You know, fine,
Deal,
I'll take it.
Adrian?
Fine.
I agree with that.
Listen, you put in the work, we support you. You be lazy and you slack off, I still support you, but
I'm trying to find a schedule.
I'm gonna give you tough love. I'm gonna give you tough love.
I'm trying to find a schedule how to do this shit.
Your day off. One of your days off.
A day off is almost never because I'm busy on my day off, unfortunately.
Well, stop being busy on your day off.
Bro, all right. I hope you guys had a nice night. These outros always last 50 million years. I apologize. I love y'all. Good night.
Good night.
Good
Or
night.
good morning. Or good evening.
Goodbye.
You know what? Goodbye.
Yeah,
Have a
just
good day.
goodbye.
Suck some pee-pee or eat some ass.
If you listen to all of this, thank you so much, but we will catch you in the next one. Deuces. Oh, and Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. We forgot to add that, but it's fine.